part of the big game here.
That's Justin Boyle set to kick off for the Flyers.
And it's a short one. Taken by Brooksby Stafford right off the bat. And he's got running room, and he is on his way. If he can get back, they don't mess up on tackle. Nice return down to the 25-yard line. First play from scrimmage.
A short kick and a couple of good blocks, and you can see the evident speed of Brooksby Stafford as he made it to the outside.
Here's a replay on that one. Now he's got the ball. You can see he kind of takes time looking for his blockers and finds a hole. Good, getting good help from his blockers downfield. He was running number 5 for...
Chris Atkinson is the player from Dixie who chased him down, or we'd have a score right off the...
Okay, here we are. First play from scrimmage in Snow Canyon here at Hanson Stadium, the 3A football championships. And the ball's handed off to Lance Warby. And Lance is going to go all the way. And he brought him down, it looks like, at about the 1-yard line.
Snow Canyon decided to go with Warby right off the bat. He's been running very effectively on the fullback traps. So right off the start, they tried to mix things up a little bit. And once again, Warby gets a nice big hole through the middle of the line and almost scores a touchdown.
So it'll be first down for the Snow Canyon Warriors with 11:34 remaining in this, the first quarter of action in 3A state championship football here at Hanson Stadium.
Well, it's early on, but Dixie's back on their heels, right with the ball on their own 1-yard line.
I formation, they give it to Brooksby. He's trying to find a way into the end zone. And the referee signals that he's in at 11:15 of this, the first quarter.
It's interesting, we commented the beautiful weather, but there is a slight wind coming from the south, and perhaps that held that kickoff up enough to give the kind of short field position that the Warriors wanted there, and it's a great run back by Stafford to set this up.
Curtis Whitehead will be the kicker, and Brock Jacobson will be the holder. And it's good.
Well, the Snow Canyon Warriors came out, went to their strength, which was running. I mean, on the first play from scrimmage, Lance Warby busts it right up the middle, and when you're 1 yard away, you give it to Brooksby Stafford, and he can get the job done from 1 yard away.
You can be sure they were keying on Brooksby to take that ball on that next play from the first play from scrimmage. And that really helped Warby out, I think.
Well, you look at Warby's numbers over the season, and he's got almost 8 yards per carry, and we see why.
Well, also,
Go ahead.
Well, also, I think the Dixie defense is looking for the Snow Canyon Warriors to run the ball quite a bit with Matt Hickman at quarterback. I don't know if that'll be the case. Hickman looked very impressive last week and probably threw more times than the Snow Canyon quarterbacks have thrown at all this season. So to expect Brooksby Stafford to run a lot might be a flaw in the game plan of the Dixie defense. They were looking for Brooksby on the first play, and Lance Warby just exposed the weakness up the middle.
Well, we got a lot of football action left, and here we are, 11:15 in this first period. Snow Canyon with a quick score after a great kickoff run back by Brooksby Stafford.
Look for Whitehead to put this in the end zone.
Yeah, he did last week very well. Up is low, so it's not going to make it in the end zone. Taking it to 2-yard line by Cole Carter. And I thought maybe we were going to see a flag down there. Tackled by Nick Lang, number 66 for the Warriors. So that's where the Dixie Flyers will take over their first opportunity from scrimmage in this, the 3A championship football game here at Hanson Stadium.
Well, Whitehead's kick wasn't high. It didn't have a lot of hang time, but it took long enough for Cole Carter to reel it in, so it gave the coverage team a lot of time to get down there and tackle him. The Dixie blockers didn't hold him up very well at the beginning of the play, so there was a lot of Snow Canyon Warriors to meet Cole Carter.
Okay, we've got our wideouts. Number 5 is Chris Atkinson, and it is handed off to Cole Carter. He likes to run off tackle, and he picks up good yardage on the first play from the game. I love the way he deeks and moves to the right and to the left. Jake Charles, or John Hafen in on the tackle on that one.
So far we've seen what we expected. Cole Carter running the football, and Brooksby Stafford and Lance Warby.
Now,
I think the key here is going to be if Tahu for Dixie High School gets to carry the ball and if they're able to mix it up using him on the ground.
Well, Cole Carter showed what he can do right off the bat. He got a first down on the first play from scrimmage.
I think that's extremely important for Dixie. They are certainly looking at a very difficult situation if they were to give up the ball back on their own 20 and have to punt.
So now we have the second play from scrimmage for the Dixie Flyers. They use basically the same set all the time, I formation with 2 wideouts. And then man in motion is number 2.
It's J.D. Carter.
J.D. Carter. The ball handed off to Cole Carter once again, and he picks up about 5 yards. Tackled by Curtis Whitehead, number 24.
Now, Curtis Whitehead was another question mark coming into this game. He had a leg injury earlier in the season, and he hadn't been playing. This will be his first start at outside linebacker. He spent all season at outside linebacker last year, but this year Matt Hickman had taken over his outside linebacker spot. So,
okay, second down from scrimmage with 2nd and 5. Handed off that time. It does go to Tahu. And he muscles his way down for about 3-yard gain. 31, Brad Esplin in on the tackle.
Well, Tahu's quite a load to bring down. If he can make it into the linebacking core or the secondary of Snow Canyon, he's going to be a real hard man to bring down. He's got a lot of power, and he's got pretty good speed for a man his size.
The key for Tahu running is he's got to have a hole to get started, because he's really not quick out of the blocks. But if he gets his motion going through that line of scrimmage, then he is difficult to bring down.
Yeah, it's kind of like a train. So we got a wide receiver out here. That's number 5, Chris Atkinson, and they hand the ball off to Carter. That was on 3rd down, and he's definitely got enough for the first down. Tackled by Kason Fry and Kyle Graff. So the Flyers are moving steadily down the field, and this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to show that they can move the ball against the defense of Snow Canyon.
Well, the running game so far has looked pretty good. They haven't had to go to the air yet, and that's going to be really good for Dixie High School if they can keep from having to throw on 3rd and longs or 2nd and long.
So far, neither team's put the ball in the air, and we know that both quarterbacks have excellent arms and a good set of receivers. So
Jolly under center. Now the man in motion, number 3, Grady Fonsbeck, handed off to Cole Carter again, and he's picking up good yardage at 5 yards that time. Tackled once again by Kason Fry and Curtis Whitehead this time.
John Peterson out there blocking for Carter. And you'll notice when Carter gets hit, he's spinning. Very difficult to bring him down for little or no yardage.
Timeout, it looks like, being called by the referee. And it's being taken by the Snow Canyon Warriors. Out comes their defensive coordinator. I'm sure he wants to get them straightened out. Slow up this offense of the Flyers.
Well, Coach Kittrell probably called that timeout maybe to break a little bit of the offensive rhythm that had been created by the Dixie Flyers. They're gaining 5 and 6 yards a pop up the middle with their running game. So he's trying to slow down that momentum maybe by calling this timeout, and he also wants to get his defensive players' heads into the game.
Confidence at this point of the game is extremely important for both teams, and certainly with an early score, Snow Canyon has that confidence. And this drive establishes for Dixie an ability to believe in themselves that they can move the football.
That's sure. Also that touchdown for a high school age group of boys, you get pretty excited. Maybe your adrenaline's pumping a little too much, and they need to get settled down so that they're concentrating better on the defense.
And there is a certain settling in here. Dixie is playing as the visiting team in the visiting locker room on the visiting side of the field, so everybody's got to get comfortable with what's going on.
One wide receiver to the far side this time. Pro set, the ball goes to Carter. He squiggles his way down. He's close to a first down, but not quite make it. Number 31, Brad Esplin, was the tackler on that play.
A lot has been made of the Snow Canyon defense. They force a lot of turnovers, and they've been really strong this year, limiting teams to under 10 points a game. And Dixie, in the confidence area, this drive's going to be really good because it proves to them that they can move the ball in the Snow Canyon defense, and that was maybe one of the concerns coming into this game.
Here come the change. The referees are really checking this out right off the bat. And it is first down. So Carter continues to get them the needed first down yardage as they march down the field. So here they are on the 45-yard line of the Snow Canyon Warriors. 8:31 remaining in this, the first quarter of action here at Hanson Stadium. 3A high school championship football between the Dixie Flyers and the Snow Canyon Warriors.
On the season, the Warrior defense has been very stingy on the ground, giving up 135 yards per game.
They have sort of like a rubber band defense. They tend to bend a lot, but they don't break. One wide receiver to the far side, and it is handed off to Carter. This time they're with him right at the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't pick up anything. Tacklers Brad Esplin and Bruce Raven on that play.
They brought Kyle Graff in on a blitz on that play, which is what they may need to start doing to try and hit Cole Carter in the backfield. Because once he hits the line of scrimmage, the Dixie offensive line is just a shade bigger, and they should be able to open some solid holes up for him.
For the first time, it's 2nd and long now for the Flyers. Let's see if that brings up a passing play here.
Now they got number 3, Brady Fonz, back to the near side. He's the only one out. They're still
split backfield.
Yep. And it is a pitch. They're going after Carter again. This time we have an excellent play. Number 24, Curtis Whitehead, meets Carter in the backfield and does not give him that ability to run.
Well, he made a shoestring tackle, and had Whitehead not wrapped him up, Cole Carter had a little bit of running room, could have got some good yardage, perhaps even a first down, and this brings 3rd and long, and most likely the first passing situation we've seen from either team.
Jeremy Thompson comes into the game for the Warriors.
Kyle Graff is around that football. You notice that he's not in on the tackle. He's there to make the tackle if somebody else misses. I've been very impressed by his mobility.
Now this is really an important down for the Flyers because they've got 3rd and long. They've got 10 yards. So they've got 2 men out in one in motion. And they are going to have a passing down here, and Jolly's having to roll out to the right. And good hit on the part of the Warriors, keeps them from completing that pass. It was to number 3, Brady Fonz, back.
The referees have one waved incompletion. The Warriors wanted a fumble recovery. One of the referees waved an incompletion. So I think that's what it was. They laid a big hit on Brady Fonsback. Brock Jacobson laid a big hit on Brady Fonsback as he brought the ball in. Ball was jarred loose. The Warriors wanted a fumble, but the ref motioned incompletion.
Fonsback went in.
It looked to me like he did have possession, but let's see what the replay shows us.
You'll see Fonsback go in motion here from his wide receiver position.
He's not picked up very well by the outside linebacker, so that allowed him to get free fairly deep.
Came across the middle and was really wide open.
Yeah, as you see the ball get knocked loose by Brock Jacobson. Once again, as you said, Kyle Graff very near the ball. Had that been a fumble, that's Kyle Graff's fumble recovery.
There's a case where it's an interpretation on the part of the referee as to whether he really had control of the ball after he caught it or whether he was still trying to get control when they knocked it loose. In this case, it was determined to be an incomplete pass, so it brings up 4th down for the Flyers. 4th and 10, and they're on the 45-yard line of Snow Canyon. Whether or not the Coach Dyer will want to go for a trick play at this point, or there's Drew Salmonson of the Snow Canyon Warriors, who was the starting quarterback all year long until he broke his leg in the 3rd quarter of the Emory game.
He'd like very much to be out there on the field this afternoon.
Well, you gentlemen said earlier that they were going to be going for everything, and there's Jolly getting ready to pass it to somebody. And recovery and a fumble on that play. Barry Sorensen's the man that made the tackle. Chris Atkinson was the intended receiver.
So early on, Coach Dyer decides to gamble. It was an interesting call. He threw a screen play, which really didn't materialize. There were blockers there, but the Snow Canyon defense had the penetration in that play. He'd have been better off to drop that one.
Yeah, I really believe so. When I saw the receiver out to the far side, I thought Jolly was not going to kick that ball. Actually, I guess it was number 3, Brady Fonsbeck, that was the one that was tackled by Jacobson. So now we have 1st down here, and the Snow Canyon Warriors are on the 44-yard line. Jacobson in motion. And good defensive play on the part of the Flyers as they catch Brooksby Stafford in the backfield, and so for no gain.
That time John Peterson was on the bottom of the pile, and he's helped out by Aaron Bogenhagen.
Yeah, Clint Rogers was there as well.
Well, the one thing the Warriors have been looking for on special teams after that first game is for Jolly to pass. He's the punter as well as the quarterback. That provides a two-pronged threat in a punting situation, and the Warriors have been looking for him to pass. So I think that shouldn't be as surprising as others would think.
The way they played it, they weren't surprised.
Back to pass. He's got a man. He picks him up through the middle.
Fumble.
Oh, we got a fumble.
John Peterson's on the football for Dixie.
And Dixie recovers.
Big play for Dixie. They needed that one.
That was Nat MacArthur that had the ball, and in the process of being tackled, he was stripped of the ball and was recovered by number 9,
John Peterson.
Well, the screen was
Here's
pretty well
replay.
set up by Hickman. MacArthur came across the middle fairly well. It looked like a good play, but once again, the ball was just punched out from behind by J.D. Carter, I believe, who made a big play on that one. And then the alert John Peterson just jumped right on top of the ball.
This has been a game of a big play so far.
Yeah, well, that was a good dodging of bullets for the Flyers there because the Warriors were on a march. 2 wideouts and number 9 in motion. That's good defensive play that time. Rhett Williams got into the backfield. He's pumped up. You can see him out there.
Well, Williams came free. I don't know if somebody missed their block or if the play was designed that way for the guard to pull. But Rhett Williams came free through the backfield, and he's a big, strong kid, and if he gets his arms around Cole Carter, all Carter's mobility is pretty much nullified.
Well, that's about the only time we've seen Carter with a loss, I think, so far in this game. So it'll be 2nd down and 11 yards for a first down for the Flyers.
Still in the I formation.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in this, the first quarter. The score is 7-0 for the Warriors. Back to pass is Jolly, and he went for Brady Fonsbeck, but threw the ball over his head. And on the Jake Charlton, number 3 for the Warriors, was right there with the receiver.
Throw just a little bit wide, but they wouldn't have got too much. As you said, Jake Charlton was really close to that play as it developed. Fonsbeck would have made the catch, but Charlton probably would have brought him down, and the throw was just a touch wide. So,
of course, they love those plays because it gives the offensive man a chance to twist and turn and get away from the tackler. Here's an interesting formation. They got three men to the far side.
If you'll notice, Cole Carter's lined up as a wide receiver, which is something that's very dangerous so far for the Dixie team this year.
First time the Flyers have run trips.
They're going after somebody out
That's
there.
how Brady Fonsbeck gets overthrown.
2 men down there, Mike Esplin and Jake Charlton. No, that was Brock Jacobson that were back there with Brady Fonsbeck on that play. Interesting formation.
It looked like Fonsbeck had found a seam. The pass just a couple inches off. Jolly almost made the perfect throw for that situation. Fonsbeck barely broke the seam between the 2 defenders, and he had made it into a position where he could come up with the ball. But the throw just a touch long.
Well, I'll bet we'll see that play again. Now here we have a case once again. I believe you're going to find him kicking because it's way deep in their own side of the field this time. Lone man back there is John Hafen. He calls a fair catch and takes it on the 46-yard line of the Snow Canyon Warriors. So 4 minutes and 50 seconds remain in this, the first quarter of action here at Hanson Stadium in our 3A championship football game. And our score at this point is 7-0, brought about at 11:15 of this quarter by a 1-yard run for Brooksby Stafford and the extra point by Whitehead. That was set up by a beautiful long return on the kickoff by Brooksby, and then a great run by Lance Warby down to the 1-yard line. So the Snow Canyon Warriors will take over, 46-yard line. This will be their 3rd opportunity with the ball. Oh, there was a case where the number 41 for the Flyers had an opportunity to help call the a penalty that time for against Snow Canyon. A man, that was Boyle. He told the guys, "Hey, he moved," and then finally the referee threw the flag. Did you feel that way on that one, Stan?
Certainly called his attention to it.
Well, that's what a defensive lineman's supposed to do if they see the offensive lineman jump off. They're supposed to try and alert the officials to it as quick as possible.
Well, there's that offside, of course, hurt him because now it's 1st down and 15.
Well, that didn't hurt him.
Well, Brooksby Stafford's making good yardage out of that. They're going after the ball, but they're also going after him, and he picks up pretty close to just a 1st down almost. John Peterson in on the tackle along with Dan Wright, number 31. Here's the replay on that one.
This play starts out, it looks like they're going to miss the handoff.
Yeah, it looks like Hickman almost got stuck behind center before he could get the ball out.
That little bit of delay possibly helped get that opening.
It is a first down. But this time, there after Lance Warby, they were right there for him. They didn't let him get away from him this time. Taz Decker and Dan Wright in on the tackle. So we'll have second down and about 10.5 yards for the Warriors.
When the Warriors have been able to get that little seam for Brooksby, he's certainly been able to get deep in the secondary of the Flyers. The key here for the Flyers is to be able to stop him before he gets untracked up the line of scrimmage.
And he does know how to make good use of the open field once he gets it. Second down and 11 for the Warriors. Jacobson in motion. And the pitch out to Brooksby, and they're keeping a good eye on him because Dan Wright was right in there to tackle him this time. And he picked up maybe a yard or two, and that's all.
Well, they're looking for Brooksby. They didn't use him on the first drive, and then in the second drive, it was only 1 or 2 plays before the fumble. And so now this is Dixie's first real look at Brooksby Stafford on a continued offensive drive.
Now the Warriors are in the situation where they have third down and long. So the Flyers will probably be expecting a pass here.
Flyers put in an extra rusher and extra corner, so they do expect pass.
They are covering the wide receivers well. And Brooksby did not even get around the corner. Great job by Clint Rogers on that one and Jaron Scott for the Flyers. So right now what we're seeing is pretty much since the first quick score, a defensive struggle between the two teams as the Warriors will have to kick with 2:47 remaining in this, the first quarter of 3A semi-high school football or final championship action here at Hanson Stadium.
Field position has been a big key to this first quarter, and the Snow Canyon Warriors have certainly had the advantage in that area.
Let's see if Ben can keep him put in the end zone. Yeah, he gets it short enough. Carter's taking it. Good special teams work that time. He only picked up about 3 yards on the return. John Hafen was the one in on the tackle.
A nice hanging kick by Ben Lane. Once again, it allowed the Snow Canyon cover men to get down in time to make that tackle. You give Cole Carter any room, he's going to do just what we saw Brooksby Stafford do earlier and break a long one.
The key for the Flyer offense has been yardage on first down. When they've gotten big yardage on first down, they can get the first downs. But when they've been stopped, they've ended up either punting or attempting to punt.
2 wideouts. This time they do give the ball to Tahu, and he picks up good yardage. They're having fun bringing him down. 3 men on Barry Sorensen, Kyle Graff, Casey Fry, all in there working on that tackle.
Well, Tahu last game against the Snow Canyon Warriors, I noticed, was getting about 7 yards a carry. We even started throwing some blitzes directly at him to try and stop him, and our guys were bouncing off him, and he was still getting close to 6 yards. So he can be very effective setting up the quicker runs for Cole Carter.
Okay, here we are, second down and 4. With 1:49 remaining in this, the first quarter of action. Fake on the part and roll out from Jolly, looking for someone to throw to. He throws it back up the middle. I was really surprised he even got that ball off.
And that was a very dangerous pass, throwing back over the middle to Weekly. That could have been intercepted very easily.
Jeremy Thompson was in on that, chasing him. Now there is a penalty, and I don't know.
Illegal receiver downfield.
I think what happened on that is Jolly was just looking for someone to throw to, and I don't think those fellows expected him to throw the ball back in that direction, which caused for the illegal receiver.
Well, when the quarterback starts rolling like that, the tendency for the offensive lineman is just to keep blocking upfield to try and find somebody to hit, maybe in case the quarterback decides to turn the corner and take it himself. Jolly threw it, and they wound up with a couple offensive linemen down the field where they shouldn't have been. Ending up with a 5-yard penalty, bringing it back to about 2nd and 7 or 8.
So now they're on looks like the 18, well, probably the 16-yard line. And it's second down, so they've got a passing or a running situation here, and they do have 2 wide receivers out. Fonsbeck and Atkinson, and Jolly is going back to pass, and he's looking for someone to throw to. They've kind of used it as a screen, and number 72 was right there to get him. That was Bruce Raven, and Kyle Graff was in there as well.
Got another penalty, and this time it could have been a face mask.
Kyle Graff, his job on a play like that is to watch for the screen. He can't lose track of Cole Carter coming out of the backfield. Being that he's the middle linebacker, if he loses track of Cole Carter and that pass is completed, that's big yardage.
Personal foul.
Is that after the play? I guess that's the key question here. Whether
that should be a first down.
Yeah, here the Warriors were really keeping the Flyers deep in their own territory. Nick Lang just came into the game, but as a result, we have a personal foul call, and that gives a first down to the Flyers, a new life for them.
We'll see what that breath of life does for the Flyers on this drive, because certainly they were in a situation they were probably going to have to punt.
The coaches are not happy. I can see them down there. I don't know if Rhett Williams was a guilty party or not, but I know they brought him off immediately, and there's a lot of talk going on down there. So Jolly is at quarterback, 2 wide receivers. And once again, they've given the ball to Tahu, but this time Bruce Rabin was right there to get him as he came to the line of scrimmage.
That time there was no hole for Tahu, and he had nowhere to go but just spin and go down.
Well, a lot of the things we expected to see happen where they're trying to use the fullbacks in this game more to take the pressure off of the running backs, Carter and Stafford. We're seeing that happening, and sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. 39 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Gives Dixie at least one more play before they have to change ends. In motion is Fonsbeck. Jake Charlton following him, and Jolly's rolling out. Charlton's there. Oh, great block on the part of on Jake Charlton that time, and I'm sure that a lot of the Warrior fans think that it was an illegal block, but it was a good block. Jaron Peterson was the one that made that block.
It was nearly a clip.
It was pretty close. I think that's what the Snow Canyon Warrior fans were booing about. Charlton had come in on a cornerback blitz. I didn't think Jolly expected him to be there, but John Peterson had his head up, you know, and he was paying attention, and he was able to make the block that freed Jolly up for about a 4 or 5 yard gain.
So they're in a little better position than it looked like there was going to be. They've got about 5 or 6 yards for that first down, and it is third down. It's 2 wide receivers once again, and Jolly is looking for someone to throw to, and he completes this one. But once again, we have a fumble. Brock Jacobson recovered the fumble, and 86, Brett Burrows was the receiver who lost the ball. I did see something thrown on the field, but I think it was a marker rather than a flag down here about them. Here's the replay. Jolly throws the ball there to Burrows, who catches it and then loses the ball.
Well,
Jacobson runs the ball back.
This is the second time a wide receiver has gotten open past the first down marker, and Jolly's been able to hit him with a good pass, and he's fumbled or he's dropped it. I think that's going to weigh heavily on the mind of Doug Jolly when he decides to throw to those receivers again.
That time the ball carrier was 41, Brooksby Stafford, who picked up about 2 yards. So the Warriors are trying to knock at the door again. They are in Flyer territory, not very far at this point, down to about the 36-yard line. And the time is up, so we start the second quarter of action here at Hanson Stadium. The score 7 for the Snow Canyon Warriors, 0 for the Dixie Flyers.
So far, it appears that there's a wall there about the 50-yard line, and the Flyers can't get past it. They self-destruct. They look like they're going to make big plays and put the ball down on the ground. And if they're to stay in this football game, they've got to stop the turnovers.
Well, so far from the 2 quarterbacks, we haven't seen anything from Matt Hickman except for that short screen pass to Nat MacArthur, which resulted in a fumble. They haven't thrown other than that pass, and we've seen Doug Jolly make a couple key throws that were right on the money and dropped by his wide receivers, both beyond the first down marker. Now you got to wonder if Jolly's going to be able to keep his confidence in his receivers if they keep dropping balls.
One thing we know for sure, they plan to have Jolly throw the ball a little bit more in this game, and he's doing it so far.
As long as they have second and long and third and long, they're going to be forced to use that passing game. And those receivers are going to, they're going to hear that from the coaches, and they're going to, I think, do a little bit better job concentrating. That's a matter of concentration, knowing that you're going to get hit and focusing on catching the football and getting down.
Yeah, that's for sure. If Jolly's the team leader, which I know he is, you can be sure he'll talk to those boys and tell them, now, pay attention and hang on that ball. So the Warriors have the ball on the 37-yard line of the Flyers, and we're just starting action here in the second quarter. Timeout is still having the timeout on the field at this point. You can hear the Snow Canyon Warrior Band just below us down here. Now the referees are ready to go. Segmiller to one side, MacArthur to the other side. Once again, we almost had a bad handoff there. Someone ran into Hickman as he was trying to hand off the ball. Tackler was Ben Tafuga and Clint Rogers that time on Brooksby Stafford.
Warby's kind of explained to Hickman where that handoff should have been, and of course Hickman, this is only his second start, so some of this is to be expected.
Those are the little things you worry about with a quarterback that hasn't been with them all year long. Little things like that they have to work out between them.
It's been hard to try and peg what the Warriors are going to do offensively. Last series they had a 3rd and about 10, and they decided to run it with Brooksby Stafford. Here we have a 3rd and long, and we'll have to see what they decide to do.
Now they got Warby in motion, and Hickman is looking for someone to throw to. Great defensive job that time on the part of the Flyers. I think that was number 11.
Clint Rogers was in there.
That was Clint Rogers, 81. I saw the one. And Aaron Bogenhagen. So it didn't pay off for him at all, that screen pass that time. They kind of have to sell that screen pass, I think, a little bit better than we did on that one.
And enough penalty, a costly penalty on the Flyers now.
Oh, boy.
Well, the Warriors haven't decided to throw downfield so far this game. The only 2 passes we've seen were first that screen pass to Brooksby Stafford, and then a quick wide receiver screen with Nat MacArthur across the middle, which resulted in the fumble early in the first quarter.
Here comes that penalty. First down for the Warriors. That's the thing you know right now the Flyers definitely don't need. We have 11:05 remaining in this, the second quarter of action here in 3A State High School Championship football at Hanson Stadium. The Warriors in green, the Flyers in white, and the score is 7-0 right now for the Warriors. Fake pass, fake pitch, and there's Jacobson looking for the ball.
Sorensen's out of bounds.
But he only had one. Well, I thought he had one foot in when he caught it, but the referee was right there.
It was close, but the flag probably is going to be offensive interference on Barry Sorensen.
Yeah, I think he pushed off.
As he looked over his shoulder, he gave a little shove to number 2, J.D. Carter, who was shadowing him, and that's going to be offensive interference.
And that is a loss of down, I believe, is it not?
No, it's not a loss of down, but it is going to bring the Warriors back 10 yards.
Well, you know, it's an interesting battle between the defensive man and the offensive man when they're down there struggling for that ball. There's all kinds of little things that they try on each other to get an advantage, and they just hope that the referee doesn't call it. Here it comes back. So now they're going to have
15-yard penalty.
Now they're going to have 1st and 25.
It is loss of down.
It is 2nd and 25.
Wow, that's a very costly penalty.
Yeah, they were really knocking at the door, so this is going to be a lot more difficult for them this time. There's that fade route that they like to run.
Just
that time Jacobson was over there.
Yeah,
and,
he was the man that went for the ball that time.
One thing I've been impressed, Hickman's thrown 2 nice long balls here, even though that other pass to Sorensen didn't work out. It was a well-thrown pass as well. This pass to Jacobson was nearly on the money.
Yeah, well, Brady Fonsbeck was the man covering on that play, and he's doing a good job over there.
Well, when you're throwing a pass like that, the thing that the coaches will tell you to do is throw it where the receiver can catch it, but if you have to, throw it where the defender can't get to it. Both of those times, that's what Hickman did.
Here's 3rd down, and they are giving the ball this time to Brooksby, who does pick up about 5 yards, but that's all. Dan Wright and Aaron Bogenhagen in on the tackle. Brings up the kicking team, so it will be 4th down, and still a good 18 yards to go. 10:27 remaining in this, the second quarter of action here at Hanson Stadium. Ben Lane back to punt. See if he can pooch it over into the corner. And that time Carter ran into his own man, ran in number 41, I thought it was, but maybe it was Dan Wright, number 31.
Once again, a nice high kick by Ben Lane. Ben Lane, during the first Snow Canyon Dixie game, was voted Special Teams Player of the Week because the Warriors punted more than they had at any time during the season. and he kept the kicks high, and he kept them deep, and allowed the coverage men to come down and make a solid tackle on Cole Carter.
Now, there was illegal procedure on the Warriors.
They're going to make him kick it over.
Yep, so they'll give Carter one more chance to catch that ball and run it upfield.
Carter's pretty reckless there. He's in deep coverage near the goal line and chose to try to advance the ball. Usually those kickers, when it's close to the goal line, will signal the fair catch, get out of the way, and hope the ball goes in the end zone.
He must feel pretty sure about his ability to catch the ball.
Very confident young man.
Well, this will allow him a little bit more room on the return, as Lane will have to back up an extra 5 yards. This will give Cole Carter definitely some good return space.
Now, Ben Lane has the ability to kick that ball even further. We'll see how he handles it this time. And he does. And into the end zone it goes, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line. Carter did a good job. We see him over there faking like the ball was coming down in front of him, and yet it was way behind him, and he knew it. So the Flyers will take over with 10:02 remaining in the second quarter, and they'll start on the 20-yard line.
So that 5-yard penalty ended up costing the Warriors about 10 yards here in field position.
The Flyers have had to start deep in their own territory on every drive so far. The first drive, they did manage to get quite a ways down the field before they gave up the ball. To the near side, we've got Chris Atkinson and Brady Fonz back to the far side, the man in motion, number 9. Peterson.
Cole Carter. Foot race with Jacobson.
Is he going to get him? No way.
We're talking touchdown Flyers.
Here we are at 9:49.
80 yards from Cole Carter when it looked like he was stopped after about a 2-yard gain.
As Stan said earlier, when Cole gets hit, he likes to spin. It's really hard to bring him down when he spins like that.
There's the ball.
Right as
Looks
he's
like
hit,
he stopped
spins.
right there. He finds an opening down the sideline. Red Williams is after him. He'll never catch him.
Brock Jacobson looked like he had the angle on him.
All the way into the end zone.
That's the first real big offensive play from the Dixie Flyers so far this game, and it's a touchdown, and it's probably pretty close to exactly what they needed right now.
61 is their punter, and that should be Boyle, I believe.
Extra point good.
Well, what a turn of events here. It looked like, there you'll see the replay coming up. Watch how Carter's going to get hit right here in the middle, spinning.
Really takes advantage of his blockers, or the men at least that were running interference for him as he tips to the outside. Jacobson, I think, needed about 2 more steps to catch him over there. So we have a tie game, 7-7 with 9:49 remaining in this second quarter of action. Lightning has struck in favor of the Flyers here with an 80-yard run by Cole Carter.
Isn't it interesting how pregame you hype these 2 outstanding tailbacks, and both of them have delivered for their teams. Stafford on the opening kickoff, and now Cole Carter early on in the second quarter with an 80-yard scamper.
This could be a game of big plays, depending, because the defenses are both pretty tough, and they're not going to give up a lot of easy yardage.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Stan.
What Carter did on that play, it looked like he was going to go to his left, and as he spun, the defense was set up to get him on the left, and he spun and went back to the right. Just everybody was going the wrong way at the wrong time.
I think that's one of the things that makes him such a good back, is he seems to have a real ability to know how to do that. Justin Boyle is the kicker. He'll be kicking. Oh, he's going to pooch it on the ground.
Johnny Hafin's got it.
And they're tackling good and hard out there. He does make it to the 25-yard line where it'll be first down. Ben Goodman was the tackler. It'll be first down for the Warriors here in the second quarter of action. We have a tie score, 7-7.
Well, just like high school football, you know, you look at the pros and they're often very, very predictable about what they're going to do. And the nice thing about high school football is you never know what's going to happen.
That's for sure.
Momentum turns in a heartbeat.
Well, with this being the second time these teams have faced each other, both of the coaches, I'm sure, have added new wrinkles and have been trying to put in things that the other team hasn't seen yet. And so we're going to have to be looking for things like that.
Man in motion is Brock Jacobson. Hickman calling the signals. He fakes it and then does pass, throw the ball out there to Jacobson, who picked up a first down, tackled by Jaron Scott on the far side. First down for the Warriors.
Nicely set up play by the Snow Canyon Warriors. Jacobson went in motion, went to the far sideline, and it didn't look like anybody picked him up from Dixie. Good play fake by Hickman. He was able to deliver the ball right to Jacobson without having to look for the defenders.
So it's first down now on the 43-yard line of the Warriors. Score 7-7 here in the second quarter. The kind of action we were hoping for in this 3A championship game. And they're really keying on Brooksby that time. I think Lance Warby actually was the ball carrier, but Dan Wright and Taz Decker were right there to keep him from making more than about a yard.
It's interesting how early on both teams kept the ball pretty much on the ground. We didn't see any passing really. Now all of a sudden both teams have kind of put the ball in the air.
Yet both of our scores have come from runs, but the pass does help set up the run, or vice versa, depending on how the team works it. Some question on the part of the officials.
Got a equipment problem there.
They are going to keep the clock running, though. And back come the Warriors. Matt Hickman is the quarterback. This is his second full game. What a time to come in playoff action to have to be the quarterback. And the ball was right to his man right there, Brock Jacobson. And I think he lost his concentration the last minute.
Cameron Morby was defending, but he had Morby beat there. That ball was well thrown.
Another nice deep pass by Matt Hickman. He's been able to put the ball right in the hands of his receivers, even on the deep patterns, and that was something we were worried about, is whether his timing and his touch would be on, this being only his second start working with this offense.
He's looking good, and Jacobson has pretty sure hands. He doesn't miss very many of them.
He has good enough hands to be the holder on the field goals and the field goal attempts, and the point after attempt, so you know he's got good hands if the coach trusts him to do that.
So it's third down. We thought we were going to have a passing play here, but we do see a running play on the part of Brooksby Stafford, who picks up about 5 yards. Jaron Scott and Dan Wright in on the tackle, but not good enough for a first down. So it's fourth down and punting time for the Warriors. The Flyers have got to be feeling great right about now. A quick score on their part, and they're getting the ball back, and I'm sure that's exactly what they want. And a good kick by Ben Lane. Carter goes back for it, does not call a fair catch. He's looking for a place to run. And he fumbles the ball. But the referees blew it dead. Tackled by Bo Brown, special teams for the Warriors.
Well, earlier we noticed that Dixie hadn't been able to get across the 50-yard line. Now after this score, the Warriors, it appears, looks like they have a wall in front of them now, and they haven't been able to get much going on their offensive series.
Yeah, they've got 18-15 remaining in this second half, or this second quarter of action here at Hanson Stadium. The Flyers with the ball, and they've got two receivers to this far side, Atkinson and Fonsbeck, I formation, and they give the ball to Tahu, and he picks up good yardage. They are opening a hole for him. Jake Charlton and Barry Sorensen in on the tackle.
That first down and 5 is exactly what the Flyers hope to do, establish their running game, and get back on their own 22 or 3 yard line. When they started, they don't really want to put the ball in the air this part of the field.
When you have a fullback as big as Mike Tahu, he's a real punishing back, and he can beat up the defense really well. And then to give the ball to Cole Carter, who's a slasher and an extremely quick back, that can really mix the defense up a lot.
2 men to the far side, but they give the ball to Tahu again, and they're starting to make good use of that fullback, and he picks up almost enough for a first down. Rhett Williams in on the tackle.
And the best way to use Tahu is not to give him the ball just once, but to give him twice, because certainly they're looking after he gets the ball that Carter's going to get it. But my guess is here, 3rd and short, you're going to see Carter get the football.
Yeah, they could fake the Tahoe now and give it to Carter, and then you can really keep everybody on the toes on the defense.
Well, where the yards markers at, the down markers at, it appears that Tahoe didn't get as many yards as we had originally thought that he had.
Yeah, they're now measuring it. Let's see. Oh, he's got half the length of a football. Yeah, there it is, about a football length he's got to make up for the first down.
We've seen earlier in these state playoffs that Doug Jolly has kept the ball on these short down and
yeah, he's a big boy, 200 pounds. He can, sorry, Stan, he can certainly run it.
Well, the Warriors are going to be packed into the line of scrimmage. One thing they might want to do is take a gamble and send one of their defensive backs on a blitz up the middle, perhaps safety Brock Jacobson or maybe number 22 Mike Esplin, who are both fairly big guys who can lay a hit on somebody and maybe force the ball back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know, here we are, these great play callers up here in the booth, and this is time for a fly pattern also on the part, you know, they could do a fly pattern when they only got a half length of a football for a first down on third. Then they could take a chance in fourth down.
Anything's possible. That's what makes it exciting. And once you state the obvious, they could do the opposite. And but at this point, to put the ball in the air would be very, very risky.
Yeah, it is. Of course, you know, this there's no tomorrow on this. You never know what they might try. The same wide receivers to this near side, the I formation. Long count, and they do give that ball to Tahoe again, and he gets the first down. Jason Fry and Kyle Graff in on the tackle.
So the first time in the game we see Tahoe carry the ball 3 straight times, and it works for first down.
The lineman's got to slip some blocks because the linebackers are having to do all the tackling, and of course if you're back with the linebackers, you're going to pick up 3 or 4 yards every time.
Well, and also when your fullback outweighs the other team's linebackers by about 45 or 50 pounds, that's never a good matchup.
Your first problem with Tahoe is to get your arms around him.
Yeah, first down for the Flyers. 2 men to the far side, and they do have number 2 in motion. That's Carter. No room to move this time. Red Williams and Lance Warby in on the tackle.
Warby does a good job at defensive end. He uses some of the skills that he has at fullback, a good strong upper body and quick feet underneath him to be able to slip blocks and get around his man to make a tackle.
That time they tried to run behind Taz Decker and John Peterson, but the Snow Canyon defense was there to meet the challenge.
Formation. Second down and 9 yards for a first down from the Flyers. And Jolly is back to pass. He's being rushed. Oh, and he managed to get out of it, but not before several other Warriors are right there. Brad Esplin, Cason Fry, and Red Williams are all in on that last play.
Cason Fry hit Jolly really hard, but you can see how strong Doug Jolly is, 6'4", 200 pounds. He just shook off the hit from Cason Fry, and he also absorbed another big hit from Brad Esplin. It finally took a third man, either Nick Lang or Rhett Williams, who brought him down on the third attempt at that sack.
Yeah, now it's third down and 15 yards for the Flyers, so they're in a little tougher position than they were a minute ago. 5:14 remaining in this second quarter. Jolly's back in the shotgun. He's got plenty of receivers, including Cole Carter out here to the right, or the near side. Oh, bad snap. That is going to hurt. And a fumble as well, so the ball is down to about the 8-yard line. Tyler Larson was the man that recovered the ball.
Barry Sorensen
in on the tackle.
Barry Sorensen has a lot of turnover recoveries this season, a lot of fumble recoveries, and a lot of interceptions. He's done quite a bit for this turnover-oriented Snow Canyon defense, and he was in right near the ball, right as Doug Jolly fumbled it.
This puts the Flyers in difficult position as far as punting goes. They're going to have to punt from their end zone. So this time you know that Jolly's going to want a good snap from center. John Hafen is at the 40-yard line to receive. And Jolly gets off a great kick. Nice high kick. Hafen taking it at the 50. Beats a couple of men and gets up to the 42-yard line. Chris Atkinson in on the tackle.
Well, this gives Snow Canyon great field position. That fumble could prove to be very costly. This gives the Warriors some good field position, and maybe they can get their offense back on track just a little bit and hopefully put some points on the board.
You talked about using new wrinkles. The Flyers aren't accustomed to using the shotgun. They go into the shotgun and they get a bad snap. Jolly tries to fall on the ball at the 15-yard line, and it squirts out, goes back to 5. But what a great punt.
Yeah, he really came through with a tremendous punt. Here we've got the I formation. Jacobson in motion. They pitch the ball out to Stafford. He's trying to get some blockers up there in front of him. Dixie Flyers are doing a great job of keying on him and making sure he doesn't get around the corner. He picks up maybe a yard or two. Tackled by Cam Morby.
They've really bottled up Brooksby this game, and trying to get him to the outside is probably the smartest thing the Snow Canyon Warriors can do, because once Brooksby turns a corner, a lot of times it can be 6 points. But so far they haven't been able to get a good lead block as he's gone around the end. And the Dixie linebackers and cornerbacks have made some very sure tackles.
So it is 2nd down and 8 for the Warriors on the 39-yard line. And they've got they're in I formation. This time Nick MacArthur's in motion. Oh, in and out of the hands of MacArthur, being closely defended by 14.
Lance Pendleton and Morby were both there. That ball kind of hung up a little bit.
Well, there you see the scrambling ability of Matt Hickman. Hickman eludes the rush by number 44, Jaron Scott. Gets to the outside, and he had pretty nice touch on that pass. I thought for a second that MacArthur would have a shot at bringing it down, but the Dixie defenders did a good job to not look into the backfield and leave their men wide open down the field.
So sooner or later, Hickman's probably going to have to take that ball and run with it and try and pick up some yardage for him, so that it gives them another dimension that they can use in the game. 3rd down, passing play for sure. And this time it was over the head of number 4, John Haytham. Hickman had to rush that ball a little bit. Grady Fonsbeck was in there defensively. So
Fonsbeck was right there and got a hit. Pretty good timing not to have interference there, but made the hit right as Haytham was climbing the ladder to try to get to that ball.
That's a fun catch for the receivers. They can hear the footsteps coming, and they got to go up in the air to get that ball and bang onto it.
Pad my kidneys.
Ben Lane, here Kyle Graff. Timeout on part of the Warriors. They did not have the proper number of men on the field, so they've had to take another timeout.
That's a little surprising this late in the game, or this late in the season, to not have your punting team on the field the way you want them.
Well, 3 minutes and 9 seconds, I'm sure Dixie's looking for a big return from Cole Carter off of this punt. If they can get some good field position, maybe go down and take a score with them into the locker room, that's going to be very, very helpful. They've held this Warrior offense down. They've kept Brooksby Stafford in check, and they've done essentially what they needed to do to be in good position in the second half.
Yeah, both teams are explosive on offense, and so the defenses, by keeping it close, leave it to the hands of the offense to break it open whenever they need to.
Are either of you surprised by the low score this first half?
I'm not very surprised because of the low score we had in the first game. The first game was really low scoring. A lot of people expected it to come out and be a shootout, but
when you score 45 seconds into the game,
yeah, I thought there was going to be a lot of points after that happened, but overall, I'm not really that surprised from what's gone on.
Now another nice high hanging kick. This time Carter does call for fair catch and takes it at the 10-yard line. So Ben Lane has done an excellent job of keeping the Warriors in this game with good kicks. So Flyers will take over at the 10-yard line with 3 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the second quarter of this 3A state championship high school football game, and the score is 7-7 between the Warriors and the Flyers.
Well, the Flyers would like to get some first downs and possibly move down for a score. With 3:03 to go, one thing they don't want to do is repeat the last time they had the football and go backwards, where they started up near the 40 and ended up down on the 5-yard line. So controlling the football here is going to be very important to them.
The Snow Canyon defenders are playing way off the ball. You have to wonder if that's smart, and just to let Doug Jolly hit some short completions. There's still too much time on the clock.
Tackled by Kyle Graff and Jason Fry, but he picks up about 4 yards.
The Snow Canyon Warriors defensively only made one really big mistake, and that mistake turned into an 80-yard touchdown by Cole Carter, just proving how dangerous he really is as a tailback. You make one mistake against him, he's going to turn that into a score. The defense was lined up to stop him on the left, just bounces back out right, and there was really nobody there to stop him.
Receiver here to the near side, and this will give the ball to Tahoe. They're trying to make good use of him again this time, but they're Brad Espelin and Bruce Rabin were right there to catch him at the line of scrimmage. He picked up maybe a yard. So it'll be 3rd down and about 5 yards to go for first down for the Flyers. They're on their own 15-yard line.
Well, so far this drive, we've seen some pretty conservative play calling. You don't want to go too fancy when you're that close to your own end zone and maybe end up getting dropped for a big loss. So they've pretty much kept things textbook, and now they're going to try and get a first down, and if not, just punt the ball away and see if they can hold for the next 2 minutes.
Well, I've been impressed with Jolly's rollout ability, and he's actually thrown the ball well. So he gets it to Carter this time, and he does not get it. Red Williams was the one that slowed up Carter and hit him around the ankles and kept him from making that first down.
Well,
good defensive play on Williams' part.
Williams got through again. He's gotten through the line a couple of times this game. Did a good job. Carter appeared to have that first down. Had Brooksby not slowed him up, had Rhett not slowed him up by getting a hold of his shoelaces.
You know, one thing I think I tell Rhett at halftime of his ability to get through is after he gets past the backfield, he should maybe stop for just a second, make sure he knows where he's going so he doesn't run right by the guys after him.
Snow Canyon using a timeout here. They know with Hickman's arm and the receivers they've got, they still have a legitimate shot of scoring here after they get this Jolly punt.
Well, once again, the Jolly punt, if it doesn't go too far, he made a really good punt out of the end zone last time, but in the last game against the Warriors, he shanked a couple of punts that went off the side of his foot and didn't go very far and set up the Warriors in really good field position. If that happens again this time, look for the Warriors to maybe take a shot at the end zone quick, then try and get Brooksby and Lance to push the ball up a little bit.
You notice they use Chris Atkinson out wide all the time to leave him that option to throw the ball if he gets a chance. He always looks around before he kicks. And he gets another great kick. Down to Hafen, and he's got a couple of blockers in front of him. He's going for the far side, and he comes back and gets down to about the 48-yard line where the Warriors will take over with 1:21 remaining in this second half, or this second quarter. Chris Atkinson was the tackler on that play.
Well, Hafen was lucky to slip the first tackler, who was number 7 for Dixie, Hiram Adams, as he came down. Hiram came flying down, and Hafen was just able to shake him and get 5 or 6 more yards.
First down for the Warriors on the 49-yard line. 2 wideouts, split backfield, and Hickman's back to pass. He's using the screen pass, and this time it goes to
Jacobson.
Brock Jacobson, and he picks up good yardage, good 15-yard pickup on that play. Tackled by number 3, Brady Fonsbeck.
Kind of a middle screen play. Let's see this on your replay.
There you go. Jumps up, cuts it back, looks for a blocker. I think if he'd have run a little more to the left, he might have got around that guy on that side.
Plenty of time here for Snow Canyon with 1:13 to go in the second quarter.
This is a good spot for them to be in, to have a little bit of momentum right here. Back to pass again. He's got, oh man, wide open. Ben Lane up the middle. Tackled by Lance Pendleton and Brady Fonsbeck, but he's down to the 13-yard line.
A pretty well scripted play.
Here comes the replay.
Lane just breaks down the middle. He isn't picked up by anybody. Usually the free safety will come up and try and help out.
I didn't see what happened on that.
Hickman just downed the ball quickly to stop the clock.
Snow Canyon has no more timeouts, and so the only way they could stop the clock is to spike the ball.
Well, one thing about it, they have a field goal kicker who can kick from that distance. Whitehead's got the leg for it, but they want to be able to get as many plays off as they can before they have to go to that. So it is. Well, that now makes the second down from the 13-yard line.
Well, now the Warriors, with stopping the clock by spiking the ball, the Flyers have also decided to take a timeout, get their defensive coordinator out there to talk to him a little bit, Very smart play by Dixie to use their timeout right there. That also doesn't stop the clock for the Snow Canyon Warriors. And so that still doesn't stop the clock for the Warriors. And so that still doesn't stop the clock for the Warriors, but they can use the timeout to talk over the defensive play.
Yeah, that way they can kind of resettle it and determine what they're going to do now that the Warriors are moving the ball. They're at the 13-yard line. For any of you just tuned in with us, there's 56 seconds remaining in this first half of 3A State High School Championship football here at Hanson Stadium. The Warriors are in green, the Flyers in white, and the score is 7-7 at this point.
Well, the student bodies are both excited. We look across the field at the Dixie student body, and they're pumped up, and the Snow Canyon student body's pumped up, and it's a great football game.
We've got a lot of parents that are pumped up here, too. Second down, man in motion, Jacobson. Now they're going to go for that fade route again. And he dropped it. He was wide open, and he dropped the ball. It's just Brock Jacobson dropped the ball that time.
I believe it was Barry Sorensen.
Or Barry Sorensen, rather.
Sorensen's usually the first option on those fades. He runs those quite a bit. Hickman made what appeared to be another excellent throw. He's been throwing well all day, and the ball just trickling off the fingers of Barry Sorensen.
No, it was Jacobson.
It was Jacobson. That's the second time he's dropped a wide open pass today, and he was in the end zone on that play. So now it's third down.
Well, the pass had Jacobson turned around just a little bit because of the way it came over his shoulder, and I think that may have caused him to drop the ball.
There's no timeouts left for the Warriors. They had to use one earlier that they didn't want to, so they're trying to do it the old-fashioned way.
There's Sorensen across the middle, touchdown.
And he makes it. That's a good play. They've had that play. They've used that play 3 times in the game and gotten good yardage out of it. So with 45 seconds remaining in the second quarter, that's a pass to Jacobson. The 13 yards. After the point, we'll see a replay of that score.
What I had talked about Dixie doing earlier by, with 3 minutes left, maybe marching down the field, trying to put in some more points for halftime. I guess Snow Canyon was listening to me, and they decided to do it instead. A pretty good punt by Doug Jolly coming out of the end zone, but once again, Snow Canyon Hickman made a couple key throws, moved the ball real quickly.
Well, it looks like they're talking about throwing somebody out of the game or doing something here. The coaches are onto the field to be out there with the referees. It looked like, was that number 13?
13.
That's Cam McGarry.
Cam McGarry.
I don't understand. Cam's not the type to do much of anything except what he's supposed to.
They're taking him off the field.
I think it's an injury.
He's hurt. There's a paramedic with him.
Maybe I would say
taking
he's
him out
walking,
to the ambulance.
it's probably his nose. That's usually what you get when you can walk and yet you're hurt bad.
Cam McGarry being taken off the field.
Well, we don't know what type of injury it is. We hope maybe we can find out at halftime for you. There's 45 seconds remaining in this second quarter of action, and Snow Canyon's going for the extra point. Whitehead is their place kicker. Brock Jacobson will be the holder.
Snow Canyon's going to like this 45. They score 45 seconds into the game, and they score with 45 seconds left to go in the half.
And it's up and good for Whitehead. 45 seconds is still a lot of time for a good team like the Flyers that know how to throw the ball, and they've got a good runner in Cole Carter.
Well, the thing the Snow Canyon.
Hickman goes back to pass, throws the ball to
Barry
Sorensen.
Well, the thing the Snow Canyon Warrior kick coverage team is going to want to watch for real carefully is they want to make sure that they don't sit back on their heels and let Cole Carter bust a great big run back on him. Whitehead's got that powerful leg, and if he can get it to the end zone, that'd probably be the best for the coverage team right now. You don't want Cole Carter to get his hands on it and try and turn it into something.
Yeah, there isn't any wind factor that's the problem right now. It's pretty, maybe 1 mile an hour out there. The flag's moving a teeny bit, practically nil. But he has the ability to kick that ball in the end zone.
He may opt for the squib kick so that Carter won't have any opportunity to run it back. Let's see what he does.
It also takes more time as well to get the ball and to run it. Uses up more of the clock. Now, how many timeouts should the Flyers have left? They did
only have one left.
So they have just one left as well. 45 seconds. Here comes Whitehead ready for the kick. Oh, it's high, but it's not very long. Carter's got plenty of room to run. And someone does get him, and they don't let go. I think it was Jake Charlton. Got him by number 2, actually, Kelly West, and he wasn't letting go of that leg for anything. 39 seconds remaining in this first half. The Flyers will have the ball and 4 downs. They can squeeze them all in, at least, from the 26-yard line.
Well, Stan, you've seen more Dixie Flyer games than any of us. Do you think Jolly has the kind of arm that the coaches would risk maybe throwing a couple deep passes and maybe breaking a receiver down the field?
Well, I don't know from this position. They may throw a little bit underneath, but he certainly has the arm to put it in the air 40 or 50 yards. The question of whether receivers can get out there and then be open.
They've got 3 receivers, and he did go from the shotgun, and it was a...
That's Atkinson across the middle.
Yeah, Atkinson catches that ball at the 40-yard line, and there's no huddle offense coming up here right now. They're going after it. So the Warriors have got to be ready.
It's important when you're playing a prevent defense with your cornerbacks that far off the ball that you can get some pressure from your front 5.
Once again, from the shotgun, he's looking for somebody to throw to.
John Peterson.
Good tackle, and it was a little high, so it was tough for John to hang on to. Jake Charlton made sure he didn't get able to complete that ball. 22 seconds remaining. Of course, the incompleted pass stops the clock. 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line.
Having the ball out to the 40 allows them to throw deeper with less risk now.
You can see Jolly really gets that arm strength back there.
Got Cody Fonsbeck in, the real speedster for the Flyers.
Now they're calling the timeout. This will be their final one.
And they didn't want to use that there, I'm sure.
Maybe they saw something up here in the booth, and they're giving the message to Coach Dyer, and he wants to tell them about it.
Yeah, that hurts the Flyers to have to take their timeout right now. They were probably hoping to get another playoff. Maybe get another pass down the middle of deep completion, then be able to use their timeout there. This doesn't allow them to do that. If they get a long completion and it's down in the middle of the field and they're not able to get out of bounds, Jolly's going to have to spike it, and perhaps they won't be able to have enough time to run a last play to try and take a shot at the end zone.
Well, we know anything's possible in high school action here. At the 40-yard line, we have on offense the Flyers and the Snow Canyon Warriors on defense. With 22 seconds left in this, the first half of an excellent high school 3A championship football game. The score right now is Snow Canyon Warriors 14 and the Dixie Flyers 7. Brock Jacobson's the deep man back. Jolly's in the shotgun. Got a million amount of time. Oh, he's being rushed. Now he's not going to get that pass off. Good job on the part of Lance Warby was the man that got him. A great job on the part of the defenders to keep him from having somebody to throw to. And Rhett Williams was in on that one too.
Well, it's difficult to throw deep. Brock Jacobson is 30 yards off the line of scrimmage, and nobody's going to get behind him.
They're out of time.
So that's the end of the first half of action here at Hanson Stadium in 3A State High School Championship. 14 for the Warriors and 7 for the Flyers. Just a quick recap, and then we'll go off the air.
The cough and punt coverage, and to bring somebody new in there, it might change the face a little bit of the.
Whitehead set to kick off. He'll be kicking deep to Atkinson and Cole Carter. Earlier in the game, he tried that low line drive kick, which was very effective. With the wind at his back, he could sail out of this one out of the end zone. And he does, driving the ball deep in the end zone. So the Flyers will take over starting on their own 20-yard line, trailing in the game 14-7.
You can't lose on that type of a kick because they get at the 20-yard line, and that's all they get for a return. They don't have any chance to do anything else with it.
You mentioned the kickoff the first half. That really set the tone of the first half with Stafford running the ball back the way he did. It set the Warriors up for their first touchdown. Now the Flyers will take over at the ball, first down and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Just underway here in the third quarter. Great halftime performances by the marching groups and the cheerleaders. Jolly under center, split backfield. Fonsbeck split left. Atkinson split right. Give to Carter outside left, and he's met out there and is going to be brought down for a loss.
Well, the first guy to hit him, too, was Kyle Graff, and it really slowed him up, and then someone else is right in there.
Barry Sorensen also in on the tackle.
It looked like they've been pumped up at halftime there, and they're in this game with the duration, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know what that arm motion was by Cole Carter, but that drew a little bit of defensive attention to him. Once he made that wave over to the sidelines or to whoever he made that motion to, the Snow Canyon Warriors keyed to him.
Flyers up the line of scrimmage again, this time I formation. J.D. Carter split left and Atkinson split right. J.D. Carter in motion. The give to Cole Carter, and he's going to be dropped for another loss.
That was, once again, Kyle Graff. This time got him. No, I'm sorry, that was Nick Lang.
Two successive plays. The give to Cole Carter brings up third down and 15. Ball resting on the 15-yard line.
Now we're going to get a chance to see Jolly throw the ball. He has a good arm, and he knows how to roll out well. See what type of rush they put on him.
One thing the Flyers don't want to do is early on here in the third quarter make a mistake that would give the Warriors excellent field position. So Jolly brings the Flyers up to the line of scrimmage. This time Atkinson splits right. Brady Fonsbeck splits to the left. I formation. Tahu and Carter in the backfield. And we're going to have a penalty.
Number 51, Ben Tafuga, jumped early, and immediately all the Warriors were pointing at him and alerting that to the officials' attention, which will drop it back another 5 yards. On that play, you'll notice that Doug Jolly wasn't back in the shotgun. I don't think the Flyers are very comfortable with that after having a mishandled snap in the shotgun, which ended up being a 15 or 20-yard loss. So
we talked earlier in the start of the game that execution for 4 quarters would be key for the Flyers because they, the last time they played the Warriors, played very well for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter had some miscues. Let's see if they can get this thing squared away here. Third down and 20. Again, we have Fonsbeck split to the left, Atkinson split right, I formation, Jolly under center. Call signals, drop straight back to pass. Throws out for Fonsbeck. Fonsbeck has the ball up to the 30-yard line. It'll be close to a first down. Brought down out there by Brock Jacobson.
Boy, that was a nice pass. Just right on a rope all the way right to Fonsbeck on that one.
Flyers ran that pattern earlier in the game, and Fonsbeck got popped and dropped the ball. This time he holds onto the ball and picks up a big first down. That could be monumental in terms of the Flyers keeping some momentum going here early on in the third quarter.
We had talked about the Flyers receivers dropping a couple of balls past the first down marker on really well thrown balls by Doug Jolly. That did not happen this time, and hopefully maybe that'll set the tone for the second half, you know, dealing with the Flyer wide receivers.
This time Atkinson splits left. I formation. Weekly in motion. Give to Carter around left side. He's got the ball up to the 40 and the 45-yard line before he's wrestled down by Barry Sorensen.
You know, when you watch him run, he doesn't look like he's even going all that fast, but he just seems to know how to just move a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left to escape some of those tackles.
Picks his holes and knows when to accelerate, and I think that's key. He's willing to wait for the blockers to materialize.
I noticed Rhett Williams was down on his face there for a minute, but apparently the referees didn't call it as needing to stop and have him go out.
9:20 to go in the third quarter. Snow Canyon leading 14-7. The ball is on the Flyer 45-yard line. First down and 10. Split backfield. Tahu and Carter behind Jolly. Jolly back to pass. Throws over the middle. The ball is batted down. Looked like Kyle Graff got his hand on that football.
You know, that's the thing that the coaches teach him. The minute he cocks his arm, the linemen are supposed to put their hands up in the air. try and stop that good play on the part of Kyle Graff.
That may have prevented an interception by Cason Fry. Fry had really good position. Had that ball not been tipped and knocked down, Cason Fry might have come up with the interception on that play.
Here comes Cam McGarry. Back, the paramedics are bringing him back over to the bench.
I formation for the Flyers. In motion is J.D. Carter. Give to Cole Carter off the tackle, and he's got a seam there on the left side and scampers, maintains his balance. And the official got taken out over there on the far side by the yard marker.
Well, I'll tell you, Cole Carter just says no quit. He just keeps right on going. Picks up another 3 or 4 yards, practicing crawling along the ground. Here's the replay.
Carter knew where he needed to get on that for the first down and managed to stay on his feet somehow. There you see the Flyer fans cheering on their Flyers, hoping that they can turn this around. They are trailing.
Boy, this is a big series for them because they're marching down the field. If they can score here, they're just going to once again stick their nose up in the air at Snow Canyon, so that's what they're working at. 1st and 10 on the 43-yard line now of the Warriors. Brady Fonsbeck in motion this time. Pitch back to Carter. He's coming around the right side. This time he's stopped at the 40-yard line after a short gain by number 45 and number 24, Curtis Whitehead and Lance Warby. I think Kyle Graff got a hold of him, but he spun out of his grasp at the beginning there and then picked up some extra yardage.
Cole Carter has had some excellent second effort runs this half alone. In the first half, his second effort is what made the difference between getting those first downs and those big gains and getting dropped at the line of scrimmage. He's done that consistently, and he keeps getting the big yards.
2nd and 7 for the Flyers. I formation again. J.D. Carter in motion. Jolly drops straight back to pass. Throws out there in the flat to J.D. Carter. The ball is a little bit overthrown. First time they've thrown to J.D. today.
There's the case, too, with J.D. Where the pattern he was running, he didn't leave a real good target for Jolly. He kind of had a little bit of an angle the way his body was faced there. It wasn't turned enough to give Carter a little better throwing angle to throw to him.
Down in the trenches, Brett Williams, who's been having a good game, he's being double-teamed by the Flyer offensive line. That time he was cut blocked in order to give Jolly the time to throw. He's made it into the backfield a couple of times. So now the Flyers are doing anything they need to do to keep him from getting to their quarterback.
High formation, Jolly calls signals. Fonsbeck's in motion. Atkins is split to the bottom of your screen. Jolly back to pass, gives on the inside reverse to Atkinson. Atkinson's got a little bit of daylight out there. He's down to the 35-yard line. Looks like he's going to be run out of bounds somewhere about the 29-yard line.
Now there was a case where people
Jacobson made the stop.
People did not stay home, even though those are reverses. The defensive men have to remember that certain ones will have to stay home.
This time you see the handoff on the inside instead of on the outside, and just barely got free there. Excellent speed by Atkinson out there to avoid the Barry Sorensen tackle. So it's another first down for the Flyers. Ball resting on the 29-yard line of the Snow Canyon Warriors. 7:35 to go in the third quarter of the state 3A championship football game. I formation. Brady Fonsbeck in motion to give to Cole Carter. Carter jumps over the line of scrimmage and gets it now about 3 yards. Brought down by Kyle Graff. And Scott, it looks like Kyle Graff is definitely the emotional leader of this Warrior football team.
Yeah, there were 2 of them on him that time. I think it was, Lance Warby was also in on the tackle.
Well, Kyle Graff has to be around the ball for this Warrior defense to be successful. Cole Carter's making it into the secondary far too much, and if Kyle Graff can't stay near the ball, then Dixie's going to have a very easy time controlling the clock and the ball.
Jolly brings the Flyers up to the line of scrimmage. I formation, and he's got J.D. Carter in motion. Gives to Tahu this time, first man through, and Tahu gets about 3 more yards before Barry Sorensen is in on the tackle.
You know, Dixie Flyers are doing an excellent job of mixing up their plays and trying to keep the Warriors off guard, and so it's more difficult for them to know who to key on at this point.
With 3rd and 3, it looks like the Flyers will be in 2-down territory here, or certainly 3rd or 4th down. They'd like to pick up this important first down and maintain this drive.
Oh, they've got great momentum, and I think their confidence is very strong right now. They're saying, here, it's our turn to run right down and shove this ball back down the throat of the Warriors at this point.
I formation. Burrows in. at the wide receiver. Fonsbeck in motion.
And that's Tahu. Boy,
Tahu is a load, isn't
he gets kind of down low, and people are trying to grab a hold of something there, and they're not getting anything.
Jacobson and Charlton in on the tackle.
Well,
but it's another first down, Scott, for the Flyers with the ball on the 15-yard line.
Well, as you said earlier, Mike Tahu needs a hole to get himself going. He's not really quick out of the blocks, but the Flyer offensive line has just done a terrific job opening up holes for Mike Tahu. Once he hits a hole, he is very hard to bring down. And if he gets into the secondary, be careful because he might just break a couple more tackles.
Atkinson split left or right. J.D. Carter left. J.D.'s in motion. Give to Cole Carter. Carter momentarily fumbles the football and then managed to get up to about the 15-yard line before he brought down by Brock Jacobson.
Yeah, see, now that impeded his forward progress because he had to stop and make sure he had a hold of that ball before he continued upfield. If he hadn't, he probably would have fumbled it.
Well, timing is everything, and mishandled snap or a mishandled ball oftentimes can make the play go nowhere, which in this case, excellent on the part of Jacobson to come up from the safety position to make that stop.
Well, safety is a real big factor in stopping the run. He's got to charge the line of scrimmage once he sees the ball handed off. And Brock Jacobson's done a pretty good job of that this half.
Fonsbeck and Atkinson split out. Atkinson on the right. Pitch to Carter around the left end.
See, there was a case where Mike Esplin was in the backfield and tried to tackle Carter and didn't make it.
Esplin did a great job of penetration along with Bruce Robin, number 72.
Finally, somebody put both their arms around Cole Carter, wrapped him up, and dragged him down. Mike Esplin overshot Carter on the tackle, and it looked as though he was going to make his way out. But Bruce Rabin was able to get both his arms around him and make a really sure, fundamentally sound tackle.
Well, at 6'2", 240, Rabin's got the size to do that.
Yeah, he really does. This is a critical down here, third down and 8 yards to go.
So 3rd and 8, 4:11 to go in the third quarter. The Flyers trying to maintain this drive. J.D. Carter split right, I formation. Jolly calling signals, back to pass, gives on the draw play right up the middle to Cole Carter, and that goes nowhere. Brought down by number 55, Kason Fry.
Williams got into the backfield and made that defensive play possible. Once he got into the backfield, Carter wasn't able to go to the hole he was looking for, and Fry just came in on the linebacker blitz and was able to take care of Cole Carter.
Flyers are going to use a timeout here. Not often they get down this part of the field. They want to make sure they don't make a mistake to get the play that they want to use. Hopefully get a first down for them. On the other hand, the Warriors would like to get a stop here and see if they can't stop this momentum the Flyers have got. Yeah, the Flyers have done a really good job of marching down the field, and they've really eaten up the clock. I mean, there's only 3.5 minutes left in this third quarter. And that's what we saw earlier in the game with the Flyers really chewing up the clock. And then they get to use this fourth down. They're in the territory where they can do that. You know, they have to have this fourth down. Otherwise, they would be kicking the ball now to the Warriors. There you see a shot of a cheerleader on a pyramid. That's a pretty dangerous. That might be more dangerous than anything the players have done. They've at least got pads and helmets on. Fall off the top of that pyramid and you're in trouble. Yeah, the fun part, of course, is always getting down off of that thing. They don't have ladders either, do they? No, they don't. Great afternoon here at the Hanson Stadium. You're looking across the stadium at the amount of soap that was used to soap up windows over there. Getting the home team fired up. That's what this is all about. Boy, this is a big play. Split backfield. Jolly under center. Fourth down. Jolly back to pass. Throws to Atkinson. The ball is underthrown. Plus, boy, I'll tell you, number 3, Charlton had excellent position on Atkinson that time.
A little bit of contact, but it appeared it was incidental. I was looking for the slant pattern to be run to the inside. They've run that a lot of times when they've needed a first down or they've needed yardage. And they've run that wide receiver slant across the inside. This time they didn't take it to the inside, they took it to the outside. But Jake Charlton still did a really good job defending that ball. And the Warriors now will take over with the ball on the 12-yard line.
Yeah, they haven't started from this position very often in this game.
First and 10, they lead 14-7, 3:37 to go in the third quarter. Matt Hickman under center, I formation. Warby and Stafford in the backfield. Hickman fakes, throws over the middle, complete, and then dropped. That ball will be incomplete.
Yeah, that's what they're signaling. Boy, he had a big man after him there. I don't know if that was Taz Decker or whoever. There was a big guy running in the backfield after him there.
Intruder Lance Warby coming out of the backfield. Warby had it momentarily and dropped the football. Interesting that the Warriors had put the ball in the air back on their own 13-yard line.
They must feel pretty confident about Matt Hickman's ability to get the ball where it needs to be.
Well,
this is a dangerous spot, though, to be throwing the ball, right, Scott?
Well, Jacobson wants to get his team away from the shadow of their own end zone. They have started with good field position this game, but they don't want to do anything like a run that would lose a couple of yards and force them to punt out of their own end zone, giving Dixie excellent field position again.
Hickman calls center, signals, gives to Stafford. And Stafford is met at the line of scrimmage in there by Dan Wright and Jaron Scott. Little or no gain. That'll bring up a third down. Again, the ball is at the 13-yard line. Clock continues to run.
You know, one thing we haven't seen in this game at all, Stan, is any misdirection on the part of the Warriors. When they've got a good runner like Brooksby and Lance Warby's ability to run, you think they could do some misdirection or, you know, to change the flow or the way that they hand off the ball to give those guys a little extra room to move.
Hickman back to pass. Throwing deep out here for Hunt.
Well, it was almost...
Cole Carter had a good shot at intercepting that football, and
yeah, that wasn't...
Haven thought he was interfered with.
It was not a good throw for Hickman because there were two men down there, and most of the time they had the ball well covered and the receiver well covered.
Well, this is a vital punt for Ben Lane. The thing the Warriors need to make sure that happens is they need to make sure he gets this punt off. If it's blocked, that's a disaster, and that's a touchdown for Dixie most likely. So he wants to get this off and get it deep.
Lane is punting with the wind at his back. Good snap. Gets the kick away.
Boy, that was close. That was very, very close, too, almost being blocked.
Carter signals for a fair catch, but the ball goes out of bounds, and the Flyers will end up with decent field position. The ball at about the 45-yard line in Warrior territory. So with 2:48 to go, the Flyers will have a first down and 10. And much like we saw in the first half where Snow Canyon had all the good field position, so far this half, the Flyers, after their march, have maintained the better field position.
That's true, and here's a situation where you've got one team is only ahead by a touchdown, and the other team is continuing to be in their territory. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense for the Warriors at this point. They know they need to keep the Flyers off the board.
High formation, Tahu and Cole Carter in the backfield behind Jolly. Jolly back to pass. He's rushed. Sprints out. He's got room to run if he can get around the corner. And he takes a strong hit out there at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, that was
Number
Whitehead.
24, Curtis Whitehead, put the pop right on Jolly, but Jolly does pick up about 6 yards.
Well, Snow Canyon's defense has been on the field quite a bit this game. Dixie has really controlled the clock and had a lot more time of possession than the Snow Canyon Warriors have. And you have to wonder, with the third quarter drawing to a close, if in the fourth the Snow Canyon defense is going to be sucking wind a little bit and be pretty tired for being on the field. You know, already 30 minutes in this game they've been on the field.
Well, it sure, certainly.
Second and short this time. Jolly brings the Flyers up the line of scrimmage. He's got high formation. J.D. Carter in motion. Give to Cole Carter, quick hitter. Carter's in the clear at the 30-yard line and rolls forward to about the 28, brought down by number 22, Mike Esplin.
There's a case of an excellent tackle on the part of Mike Esplin. If he hadn't made that tackle, Carter was gone. He was already starting to move to the left again to get open to run down the sideline.
And that's when he's most dangerous, is once he gets through the initial line of scrimmage and gets an opening.
The important thing that Dixie offensive line has done is they've made the holes on short yardage. I mean, a lot of the times it's easy to make the holes on first down when a team can be on its heels expecting to pass, but when you have to make the holes on short yardage, you know, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 2, it's really important that you do that.
Atkinson and Fonsbeck split out for the Flyers. Jolly calling the signals. 1st and 10. He drops straight back to pass. Deep rush. Now he's going to throw over the middle to John Peterson.
Boy, was
John
he hit
Peterson
hard.
fumbles the football.
And that should be a fumble.
They're going to rule down by contact.
Oh, no.
Brought down by Cason Fry.
We need to see that one again because he hit him and that ball went out of his hands while he was standing up straight.
Well, he got hammered.
Here's the replay.
See if we can see that.
Pick that up. See how much of a deep drop Jolly takes on this pass. Rolls out to his right.
Now watch the hit here.
Throws underneath to Peterson.
See, he's got that ball.
Now his knees are down. You can see his knees were down when the ball came loose. So a good heads-up call by the official right there.
Second and 3 for the Flyers.
Good job on the camera
High
that time.
formation. J.D. Carter in motion. Give to Cole Carter. And he gets short yardage, brought down by 72, Brees Raven, and number 9, Barry Sorensen. And those two young men have been around the football all afternoon. Rhett Williams also.
Yeah, Rhett seems to be on the bottom of the pile quite a bit this afternoon, doesn't he?
Third and short for the Flyers, and if they want to sustain this drive, this is an important down for them.
Well, the Flyers are probably looking towards 4-down territory anyway, being this close. They went for it with about a 4th and 7 on the last down, and you'd have to think that they would go for it this deep again.
And the quarter runs out before they can get the playoff, so we've completed 3 quarters of play here at Hanson Stadium in this, the 3A championship football game. And the score, Snow Canyon 14, Dixie Flyers 7.
Well, there's no doubt of the fact that the Dixie Flyers totally dominated this third period of play. What adjustments they made at halftime, we don't know, but their line is hitting, firing out well and opening up holes, and Carter and Tahu have run the ball really well, and boy, they just ate up the clock in that third quarter.
Well, while they dominated, the one thing they didn't do was score, and I'm sure this time, the second time they're back at the 20-yard line, for them it's very important to get this ball in the end zone to restore their confidence and also to get this game even. If Snow Canyon can hold here and then march a drive of their own, it really puts Dixie with their backs to the wall.
Well, the score in the situation of this game is fairly reminiscent of the first game, but with the team's positions reversed. This time Snow Canyon leads 14-7 after 3 quarters, where Dixie had led 12-9 after 3 quarters in that game. Snow Canyon's defense has been on the field the majority of the time, whereas last game Dixie's defense had been on the field the majority of the time. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Snow Canyon Warriors defense can maintain a little bit of a fresh wind and still hold these Flyers who've been marching fairly consistently in the second half.
That's definitely the case. The Flyers, I know, feel very confident at this point. They know it's a close game, and they're in the right end of the field, that's for sure.
Third and short, Jolly brings the Flyers up the line of scrimmage. He's got Tahu and Carter behind him. Gives to Tahu, and Tahu looks like he's got enough yardage for the first down. He's brought down by Kason Fry again.
Doing a good job of using him at the right time to take some of the pressure off Carter and let him use that bulk to get the short yardage.
So the Flyers move the sticks again, this time behind the excellent running of Tahu, and he's been a big weapon today for the Flyers, getting them much-needed yardage.
Tahu's got 60 yards on Case and Fry, and when those two meet, chances are Fry's going to give before Tahu will. He only needed 2 yards, so once Fry met him at the line of scrimmage, all Tahu needed to do was fall forward.
Yeah, Fry only weighs
185
pounds.
First
compared
and 10
to
Flyers,
240.
ball on the 18-yard line. Jolly this time gives to Carter, and he gets little or no yardage. Brought down by number 30, Kyle Graff.
Yeah, there were
So
several
first down, the
tackles.
Flyers are unable to get any yardage, and that'll bring up second down just where they don't want to be, second and long.
31, Brad Espin was in on that tackle as well.
Well, the trend of the game so far has been for Dixie, even on second and long, to keep it on the ground. They might want to do a fullback dive with Tahu up the middle. He's been running really well on second down situations, gaining about 7 yards a carry. And if he can do that again, that'll bring up a third and short, which they really like to have.
High formation, Fonsbeck and Atkinson split to the right. Jolly calls signals. Second and 10, back to pass. Looks over the middle. Throwing to Atkinson in the corner of the end zone, but the ball is overthrown.
There's the case. We have 2 receivers in the same spot. Normally that's not supposed to happen. So they may have had a mix-up on how the routes were supposed to be run that time.
Atkinson wanted to catch the ball over the middle, but was covered, and Jolly then tried to buy some more time, and Atkinson continued the route to the corner, but the play was intended to be over the middle.
The Warrior rush keeps getting to Doug Jolly. They've been in great field position, but the one thing that's been very key is the Snow Canyon Warrior defense keeps getting behind the line of scrimmage. If they don't do that, then if you give Doug Jolly time, he's going to find a receiver downfield, and it's going to be a completed pass.
Third and 10, 10:43 to go in the final quarter of the 3A championship football game. High formation, Jolly back to pass again. This time he's being heavily rushed. Screen pass out to Cole Carter. Carter fumbles the football, and it looks like Snow Canyon has it.
Yeah, that was 45 Lance Warby just stripped it out of his hand because he couldn't make the tackle. He reached back to try to grab him and was able to grab the ball.
So once again, the Flyers are thwarted on their attempt to get a touchdown or any points on the board. Fumble by Cole Carter. Here we have a replay coming up.
That was an interesting case because there was a case where Cole Carter was one-on-one with a tackler, and he usually wins that.
The screen
Watch
sets
this
up
here.
well. You see Carter out there. We had one man to beat. The ball was stripped by Warby and recovered by
Case and Fry. It appears.
Fry.
Huge turnover. The Warriors' defense is very opportunistic. They get the turnovers when they need them, and they've been able to make plays. That's a case of a good defense doing what it has to do.
Hickman bats the pass, throws over the middle, wide open in the middle. Tight end. That's Lane.
Ben Lane. Brought down by number 2, J.D. Carter, who needed a little bit of help on that one.
Yeah, he had number 4 helping him.
Well, Lane's a big boy, and he's a nice target in there.
Yeah, and he had Cameron Morby helping him. There's a case where you try to go for the extra yardage.
Looks like Lane's shaking up on the play.
Yeah, I think he got a leg twisted underneath him.
Well, when you're held up like that, as a receiver, when you're held up like that and another guy comes and hits you, a lot of times, if your foot's planted, a knee can give, or else an ankle maybe, or just if you're stood up and hit and you catch a helmet in the solar plexus or something, that'll knock the wind right out of you.
Looks like Lane's in some severe pain there. Let's hope it's nothing serious.
Well, the other thing you have to think about with Ben Lane is he also happens to be their excellent punter, who's kept them in the ball game very well.
We should make mention also that the wind will be blowing against the Snow Canyon Warriors in the fourth quarter, and it's gusting. It's sometimes the flag's straight out, sometimes it's blowing hanging limp, but currently it's a fair wind.
Well, that's a special teams blow to the Snow Canyon Warriors. They're going to need to get a couple first downs, maybe to buy some time for either Lane to heal himself up or to get away from the shadow of their own end zone, because if they come with an inexperienced punter and they can't get the ball down the field, Cole Carter's a dangerous return man, and also it sets him up with good field position.
Well, he seems to be walking around fairly well on his own at the moment.
I don't think it's too serious. He's able to walk and limping, but
maybe a sprained ankle. He's favoring that left leg, and once it's planted, if a guy comes and hits you, an ankle's going to give before the ground is. So.
Well, the Warriors are ready to go here. They
Second and 5. They're going to get a quick snap on the Flyers, and Hickman takes the ball out on a naked reverse, and he's going to get some yardage out there. Lance Pendleton meets him out at the 38-yard line. That time the Warriors tried to get the ball off before the Flyers could get set, and Hickman took good advantage of it and used his speed to get outside.
We talked about the fact that I thought maybe Hickman would have to run with the ball some today. He's not afraid to run. He plays linebacker, he likes to hit people, and he has good size and speed. You notice he ran well, and he hit that guy really well when he came up to tackle him.
I formation. Hickman gives this time. It looks like is that Stafford? Lance Warby on the carry.
Well, they went away from Warby early in the game, and this is the first time we've seen a carry from him since I think early in the first half. And so I think they're going to need to get Lance Warby a little bit more involved, give it a little bit more of a change of pace. Maybe that way it'll open up a run to Brooksby for the maybe to get Brooksby to the outside. Maybe that'll help out just a little bit.
Sorensen and Jacobson and his receivers split out. Hickman back to pass. Looks over the middle. Throws. There were 3 Flyers there.
Yeah, using Kyle Graff as a tight end that time.
Kyle hadn't been thrown to today, and that could have been an excellent play, but there were 3 Flyers right in the heart of that.
Well, Kyle plays defense, of course, as middle linebacker, but he also comes in and does tight end duty, and that's what they had him in that time. I think also, it looked to me like Kyle slowed up a little bit because the ball was thrown past him, and maybe he's not used to running the patterns that well.
That's one of those plays the coaches work in for these big games, and they just have to use them. So they kind of feel like they want to try it and see what will happen. But that does bring up a 3rd and 8, and so the Flyers have an excellent chance here to stop this Snow Canyon drive, with Snow Canyon having some decent field position now with the ball out at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, it was critical that they needed to make some yardage on that last play. Now they really are in a passing situation.
Well, the Warriors now have called a timeout. That may prove to be a factor. It's 9 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. When you get down to 3 minutes or maybe 2 minutes left in the game, you'd like to have those timeouts. But Jacobson felt it was necessary to call one right now and go and help his team diagram a play so that they'd be able to get that first down yardage.
While we have a timeout here, we want to thank our camera crews from the Community Education Channel. They've done a great job today.
Oh, just to let you know, Ben Lane's on the sidelines and he has ice on his knee. He will not be back in for a while. I don't think he's going to do any
backfield.
kicking.
Hickman back to pass. Rushed by Jaron Scott. Throws deep, wide open out here.
Kyle Graff gets the
Kyle
ball.
Graff. They went to him twice in a row. This time he caught the ball.
You know, I saw Lance Warby down there, and I thought he was going to catch it.
Well, Warby was wide open, but so was Graff.
They just lost Kyle Graff across the middle on the roll. I think the safety came up to help maybe stop Hickman if he decided to roll out. Graff fumbled at the end of that play too and was alert enough to fall right on top of it.
Got a friendly bounce. It came right back to him. So now Snow Canyon is threatening with the ball on the 16-yard line. 8:58 to go in the final quarter of the 3A championship game. I formation.
Now's the time when
signals.
Now's the time when you don't want to make any mistakes on your handoff or anything else. It's really critical here.
Gives to Stafford. Stafford is met at the line of scrimmage and wrestled down by Jaron Scott and Dan Wright. Little or no gain there. That'll bring up a second down.
Yeah, the penetration on the part of the offensive line for the Warriors is not being as effective as they need to be to give Brooksby Stafford just a little bit more room to get into the backfield.
Well, this Dixie defense is really fresh, and the Snow Canyon Warriors haven't been able to grind them down like they were able to do in the first half and in the fourth quarter of last game.
They have been able to throw on the Flyer defense, though.
Yeah, which is something surprising because the Warriors didn't throw as much last time these two teams met.
High formation again. Hickman calls signals. Sends Jacobson in motion. He's got Barry Sorensen split out to the bottom of the screen. Hickman looks for Sorensen. Sorensen's over here in the corner. Is he out of bounds? He is. He's out of bounds. That's Jacobson down here.
Very close. Looked as though he dragged his feet.
Brock Jacobson made a great catch, but he was just out of bounds.
Official had excellent position right there to make the call. The official had a good spot, and apparently Jacobson, when he tried to drag his feet, had one toe on the line.
You know, I'd like to see a replay on that because it looked to me like the official was looking at Jacobson's chest and not at his feet. He never looked down at the ground. He automatically called that.
Here's
to
a
the up
replay.
above.
See if you
Take a
can
look
see.
at that. See what you see.
Well, that's the second play that's been called back for the Warriors on an out of bounds. The first one was a reception in the end zone by Barry Sorensen.
Watch the official here.
Oh, it appears his right foot was in bounds when he caught the ball. His left foot was on the line, but his right foot it still remains in bounds.
I don't think the official was looking down at the ground. I think he lifted his chest and saw his chest out of bounds.
And we've got a motion penalty here on Snow Canyon.
Boy, this hurts him on third down.
Tyler Whetstone, number 74, looked like he jumped early. So that'll march him back 5 yards to bring up...
and that's a big 5 yards that helps out that Dixie defense. This
Third
way,
15.
even if Snow Canyon gets like 5 or 6 yards on this play, chances are they may try and go for the field goal instead of going for a touchdown or for a fourth down conversion.
Well, the key thing here, though, is the Warriors are deep in Flyer territory, which means if the Flyers get the ball, they're going to be deep in their own territory, and that's where you want to keep them at this point in the game.
Third and 15. Hickman back to pass again. Big rush, but he gets away. Going across the middle. Caught by Kyle Graff again.
No, dropped. Apparently.
We're going to have interference.
Yeah, there was interference. That's the only reason he dropped it.
It was really close. Graff made an excellent effort to go after that ball, just barely slipping through his fingertips.
I think you'll notice that the defender pushed him just before the ball got there to him.
Look at the excellent scrambling ability by Matt Hickman as he just makes it to the outside of the rush, throws across his body, and Graff just
Lance
not able to
Pendleton
come up
did
with
get there early and put Graff down on the carpet.
That'll be a first and goal. Once again, that changes the scope of this game. 2 times plays going to Kyle Graff have just changed the look of this drive. One on a long third down, got a big first down and brought him into Flyer territory.
No,
Second one, a big penalty.
It's not first and goal.
Yes, it is. They just changed the down marker and
First
put it on the 10-yard line.
It's first and 10. All right, is it going to be into the end zone or not? Yeah. All right, they're calling it as...
You guys mind if I call again? First down at 10, ball toward the Warriors after the interference call. 7:51 to go in the fourth quarter. I formation. Hickman calling signals. Gives to Warby. Warby scrambles down to the 2-yard line. We've got 2 penalties. Anybody see what that was?
Illegal. Yeah, illegal
Shift.
motion, illegal shift in the backfield. Yeah, 2 people in motion at the same time. First, Warby went in motion, and then Stafford did, and then a receiver moved, and you can see that the Dixie defenders were pointing all over the field.
And they need some yardage right here because they're in trouble with just 7:44 to go, trailing by 7 points. Snow Canyon scores here. It's going to be almost impossible for the Flyers to come back. So
5-yard motion penalty flag off against the Warriors.
first and 15 now for the Warriors. Warriors have been very effective here in passing the football against this Flyers secondary. High formation. He has Jacobson split to the left.
Looks like the referees aren't helping the team be able to run their play here.
Going to touchdown their motion. Warby and Stafford in the backfield behind Hickman. Fakes. Rolls out to right. He's got some room. He can run. He's down to the 5-yard line. Matt Hickman is showing why he can play linebacker as well.
What a second effort by Matt Hickman. He looked down the field as most quarterbacks are wont to do. They'll just step out of bounds. Hickman shows his linebacker mentality, just lowers his shoulder and blasts through a couple of people to make it to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I think he remembered, too, that once he got past that 10-yard line, even though he faked that he was going to throw the ball, there's no way he could throw it because it would have been an illegal pass.
Hickman picked up 10 yards, big 10 yards instead of 2nd and 15. Now they've got 2nd and 5. Ball resting on the 5-yard line of the Dixie Flyers, and the clock is now becoming quickly their enemy. It's 7:31 to go in the 4th quarter. Now we've got a full house backfield. Hickman calls center. He has Brooksby Stafford at tailback. Lance Warby in motion. Give to Stafford. Stafford goes outside and gets down to about the 2-yard line. Maybe closer to the 1-yard line.
Brooksby Stafford has just not been able to get away from these Dixie defenders. He tried to squirt his way to the outside that time, just wasn't able to do it. Dixie's been tackling very surely on him today, and if you don't wrap him up, he's going to break it loose. They haven't been allowing him to do that because they've made really fundamentally sound tackles.
7:01 to go in the game, and this is kind of do or die for Dixie on defense. If they don't get a stop here, they're going to be in very, very serious situation.
If they do, it could be a great momentum change and a great uplift for them.
3rd and 2, gives to Stafford again. This time he gets a touchdown, untouched.
Yeah, he got a good roll on the left side of the line that time. The blocking from the 2 men on the left side of the line from Tyler Whetstone and T.J. Raines.
I think the key on that drive was the quarterback ability of Matt Hickman kind of came to the front. We saw him throw some excellent passes, and we also saw him come in with a gutsy run on a scramble down the right side.
Yeah, you really called that right, Stan. Matt Hickman's really showing that he's matured enough to handle this offensive chores very well.
But that penalty on Lance Pendleton near the 5-yard line against Kyle Graff, the pass interference, that was really big. Had that play not come about, Snow Canyon probably turns the ball over in that situation. And then Dixie's only down by 7. But instead they're down by 14 with 6:45 left on the clock, and it's beginning to look a little bit bleak.
Snow Canyon fans sense that they've got a state championship in hand. Let's see what the replay looks like here. Ball given to Stafford, big hole, and he goes in untouched. So while they've been able to hold Stafford, when it gets down to the money territory, he seems to be able to find his way into the end zone.
Yeah, that was about a 3-yard run, but that's all he needed.
Critical part of the game here for the Flyers. They'd like nothing better than to get a big run back and put them in good field position.
It's really essential for them to score quickly. If they let too much time run off the clock, the Warriors are gonna have a good time running the clock down the next time they get the ball. So the thing for the Flyers is they need to score quickly and hold if they can.
Kind of interesting down here on the sideline. Ben Lane's being put through the paces by the trainer, and he looks like he's capable of doing whatever the trainer asks him to do. So I expect he might be back in the football game.
Here's a good opportunity for Curtis Whitehead to have to make a really good kick, and he is kicking into the wind, right?
Into the breeze, and he's still capable of putting the end zone. He's got an excellent leg. Back deep to receiver, Atkinson and Cole Carter for the Flyers. Ball is kicked towards Cole Carter. He'll take it on his 11-yard line. He's at the 20, 25, and he's hit hard, dropped at the 31-yard line.
Matter of fact, he ran into his own man. That's the guy who hit him the hardest. He ran into one of his blockers, and that slowed him up just enough for the 49er, for the Snow Canyon tacklers to swarm around him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Carter was running so quickly that he ran right up the back of the fellow who was trying to block for him.
No, we're not the 49ers yet. Sorry about that.
6:33 to go in the final quarter. Snow Canyon leading 21-7. The ball on 31-yard line. Jolly up under center. Now he shifts into shotgun. Flyers are going to be putting the ball in the air. You can look from this formation. They're going to throw the football.
They got Carter going out in the formations as well.
Jolly's got a lot of room to run. He's at the 35, 40, tucks it in and gets close to first down yardage, and then a penalty comes in late.
Looked like a face mask when Kyle Graff came in to finish off that tackle, either a late hit or a face mask.
And now's the time they don't need to make big mistakes on penalties that cost them and get the other team back into the game here.
That's right, Rich. The Warriors in a great position. All they need to do is play smart football and take care of business, and they'll be on their way to their first state championship. Taz Decker up there, captain for the Flyers. They're going to have this penalty marched down. It looks like it's the major variety.
Oh, they call it the major. Yeah, they didn't say it was an inadvertent face mask.
It would be a late hit then, or a personal foul, because a face mask would only be 5 yards, wouldn't it?
That's correct.
Well, it can be 15 if they think it's blatant that they held on to the face mask.
Well,
Give the Flyers first and 10 inside Warrior territory at about the 43-yard line.
that's Coach James Brown.
There's Coach James Brown, and his wife had a baby yesterday, so he's got to really be feeling good. Jolly back to pass, throws out in the flat to Cole Carter. Carter makes a nice catch out there, and the ball is going to be on about the 44-yard line, brought down by 5'6", 130-pound Jake Charlton. And there's a kid that likes to play football at 130.
Yeah, he does. He hits really low too. It's interesting that they're marching right down the field. The Warriors seem to be a little too happy with that last touchdown. They got to get their defense back in gear here.
Well, the prevent defense means you stay a long way off the wide receivers, and you let them complete passes to the middle of the field. It eats up clock, but it also allows them to march down the field pretty quickly if you've got a quarterback who can find his receivers.
Jolly in the shotgun, throwing deep to Cole Carter, and the back of the end zone, ball's thrown out of bounds.
Way behind him, Carter slowed up and then lost his footing, but the ball was way behind him. It didn't appear that he was going to have a chance to make that reception.
So with 5:28 to go, the Flyers have a third and short.
Now's the time for Tahu to get the ball again.
They need somehow to get a first down because they've got to keep this drive alive. If they have any hopes of coming back here, they've got to get the first down here. Flyers, third and short. Here they go. Shotgun formation. Jolly takes the ball, gives to Tahu, and Tahu's going to get the first down. They'll be close to it. Brought down by Cason Fry and Curtis Whitehead.
Yeah, he turned sideways.
Fullback.
He may not have made it.
Fullback draws a smart play to run. Tahu's been getting good yardage, but they're going to need to bring the chains out to measure that one. The Warrior defenders weren't very fooled, and they had guys in the backfield, and they were able to wrap Tahu up, which is something they haven't done consistently all game.
Interesting, if they were going to run a short running play, that they'd go out of that shotgun.
Well, I'd go for it if it's this close.
It's right at the nose of the football.
Looks like 4th and an inch.
And it's first
they give
down.
us the first down.
They're giving him a first down. When in doubt, yeah, now they're coach for Snow Canyon. You see him there arguing. He said you're waffling down there on the...
Jay Graft was yelling so hard his hat fell off.
1st and 10 for the Flyers. Ball resting on the 23-yard line of 33-yard line of Snow Canyon. 5:10 to go in the game with the Warriors leading 21-7.
The The defense needs to keep the head on straight now and just really play sound football here.
We got trips left. We got Jolly in the shotgun. Atkinson, Fonsbeck, Peterson out, split out. Nowhere to go, nowhere to throw to. Jolly scrambling for his life. Stays on his feet and throws the ball harmlessly to the ground.
They may get an intentional here.
Oh, no.
Now we've got a penalty come out late. Let's see
Brock
what this is.
Jacobson hit Cole Carter after the pass hit the ground. A late hit by Brock Jacobson, and that will move the chains. Personal foul. I saw that develop right after the ball hit the ground. Jacobson thought that the ball was going to go to Cole Carter. After it hit, just gave him a little bump and knocked him down. Carter got up and got in his face, and it appears there's going to be a personal foul on Brock Jacobson because of it.
You know, these are the things, you know, the emotions of high school age students, but still, this is now not the time to make the serious mistaken penalties to get the other team back in the ball game.
There you have it, Scott. You saw that one well. First down going to be for Flyers. So Snow Canyon has had 2 costly penalties in this drive. Keep the drive alive for the Flyers. 4:45 to go in the final quarter.
Well, you can't gift wrap first downs when you're even if you're protecting a 2-touchdown lead and there's not much time left. You can't gift wrap first downs against a team with the talent of Dixie High School. Cole Carter can bust a long one at any time. At any time you can hold him, you have to do that.
First down and 10 on the 18-yard line. Dixie will have a first down.
Yeah, see Graff, they're telling him to...
Block is really at the advantage of Snow Canyon. Fonsbeck and Atkinson split left. Jolly calls signals, gets the snap and shotgun, throws out here to Atkinson, and Charlton had fallen down. Atkinson was wide open and the ball was overthrown. That was a sure touchdown for the Flyers had they been able to complete that one.
Well, that's a hard one for Jolly to miss. He threw that just barely past the fingertips of Chris Atkinson. That catch is a touchdown, and that brings it, you know, he makes that catch, that's a touchdown, and that brings this game a little bit closer. Jolly, I think, threw a little bit off balance, but wow, that was really close, and that may prove to be costly for that ball to not have been, for that pass to not have been made after Charlton slipped.
Yeah, and everything was in favor of the receiver that time, and it just didn't pay off.
Shotgun formation again. Jolly takes the snap. Looks down in the corner of the end zone to Cole Carter. Carter drops the ball.
Good, strong official there calling it no good.
Carter had to dive to come up with that ball. He was out of bounds. Once again, the officials have been calling those calls today. They've been in pretty good position, and once again, the official was right there to make that call. No indecisiveness to be questioned or anything like that. He had to make the call right then, and he did a good job of it.
That'll bring up a third down and 10. 4:36 to go in the final quarter. And these Warrior fans are on their feet, and they can sense a state championship.
You know, it's quite a deal. You know, they've got so many receivers out there. It's amazing that Jolly hasn't been able to, you know, find one of them.
He's had 2 good opportunities, and neither one of them came in. This time he's got the ball throwing over the middle to Atkinson again, and Atkinson this time makes the catch down on the 4-yard line. Charleston there to make the stop.
That's a big play on third down. They needed to get that first down. They're really close to the goal line. The thing that they need to be careful of right now is that they don't run 2 meaningless plays. You know, try and run right up the middle and get stopped twice. Because if they do that, that chews up a lot of time off the clock. And right now, the clock isn't looking too good for the Dixie Flyers.
4:20 to go in the game. The ball is on the 4-yard line.
They need to try and punch this in one play if it's at all possible.
This time they've got their I formation. Tahu and Carter behind Jolly. Give to Carter. Carter, touchdown, Flyers from 4 yards out.
Yeah, that's the play I expected them to run. It was pretty hard to keep Carter out of that end zone for very long.
So the Flyers put together an excellent drive, but I'd have to say that 2 big penalties against Snow Canyon really made that possible.
And now Dixie's got to make sure that they get this extra point through the uprights. If the extra point is blocked or if it's missed, then that causes a lot of problems if they're in position to score to tie this game up later on in the 4th quarter. They need to make this extra point.
Yeah, Boyle did not look good last week. He only made 1 extra point, the 3 that he tried last week.
Important kick here. Ball is down, the ball is up, and the kick is good, bringing the score to 21 for Snow Canyon and 14 for Dixie, with 4:02 to go in the 4th and final quarter of the 3A state championship. Here's a replay. You see excellent blocking, a big hole for Carter, and he weaves his way into the end zone.
Now the Warrior offense cannot afford to be too conservative on this play. If they go 3 and out, that gives Dixie a ton of time to get that ball back and be looking towards the end zone.
And both teams have 2 timeouts, Rich, so it looks to me like a lot can happen in these last 4 minutes.
Yeah, this is a real critical time for the Warriors. They definitely, I know they have a tendency to want to sit on things at this point. They're going to try to just run some running plays, but they've got to have several first downs here and eat up the time on the clock.
Well, you want to bury a team. Once you get a team down, you want to bury it. You don't want to give it any life. You don't want to let them get back into things. If they have a chance to move the ball down the field and score, that's exactly what they need to do. They need to take care of the Dixie Flyers as soon as possible, or there's going to be a lot of time on that clock. And Jolly's been getting stronger with every quarter.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And one thing for sure, the Warriors can't afford any more foolish penalties like they had a minute ago.
Justin Boyle kicking deep to Esplin, and Stafford approaches the ball and kicks the ball deep over the head of Brooksby Stafford. That wind must have caught that one, because he really sailed that into the end zone.
And that was good for Brooksby to let that one go into the end zone. That's a no-win situation if you try and come up with a tough catch and then try and get back up the field. It was high enough that there were tacklers who were able to make it downfield to get a good shot at Brooksby Stafford.
So the Warriors will take over with the ball on the 20-yard line. They're leading 21-14. We're in the final 4 minutes.
Problem with trying to keep the ball on the ground strictly is that it gets very conservative and it's hard to make first downs. And right now they've got to have a couple of first downs.
Hickman behind center. Got Warby and Stafford in the I formation. Gives to Warby, and Warby is met at the line of scrimmage by J.D. Carter.
The Flyers line has done a good job today of not allowing a lot of holes for the runners to get through so that they can tie up the running backs right away.
Well, Rich, as you just said, the tendency for teams in this situation to do is to sit on the ball and try and run it. The thing the Warriors need to remember right now is they haven't been running the ball really well. Dixie has been stopping them at every opportunity. Stafford hasn't been getting a lot of yards. Warby hasn't been getting a lot of yards. The only thing that's been working for them is going to the air with Matt Hickman. They need to keep doing. You need to dance with. You got to dance with who brung you.
2nd and 9. Hickman calling signals. This time he gives to Stafford. Stafford finds a little bit of daylight before Dan Wright brings him down.
I know the coach is trying to eat up the clock, but now it puts him in a passing situation here in 3rd down.
3:11 to go in the game.
Well, when you've been riding the shoulders of your quarterback, Matt Hickman, who's just done an excellent job here in the second half, you want to keep going to him. He found a good rhythm, and you don't want to go away from him if you don't have to.
3rd and 6. I think the Warriors want to be real careful here with the football. The last thing they want to do is have any kind of a turnover.
And they brought Jolly into the game as a defensive lineman. Would get his extra 200 pounds in there.
Hickman calls signals. Gives to Stafford, and he is going to be brought down short of the first down, it looks like. Out there making play Cameron Morby.
Here's that situation. Is Ben Lane going to have to come in and kick since he hurt his leg a few minutes ago, or are they going to go for it?
They're going to bring Ben Lane in to kick. It's not smart on a 4th down and 3 this far into your own end zone to try and go for a first down, because if you turn the ball over, it's too easy for Dixie to take some shots at the end zone.
2:11, clock is running. The Flyers are a little bit mixed up. They may have to get a timeout here. They wisely call a timeout because that first down would have given Snow Canyon a first down. They hated to use that timeout, but the choice was either to have too many men on the field, or they were confused. A very difficult situation for the Flyers. Gave up one of their important timeouts.
Yeah, they've got Cole Carter back there in the 35-yard line. He's anxious to get that ball.
Well, I'm sure he's itching to make a few cuts and try and come up with a big return. If he's able to do that, boy, Dixie is sitting pretty with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to go. They'll be able to run quite a few plays if he can get some good yardage off this return.
Brooksby Stafford came off limping and is being attended to down there on the sidelines.
One of the things I have noticed is that Hickman has done an excellent job passing, but Coach Dyer has worked up a whole lot more passing plays for Jolly that put a lot more men out into the open.
Good observation, Rich. He's had a lot more people to throw to. So Lane is in to punt. Cole Carter back standing on the 32-yard line. Big rush gets the kick away. It's a low kick, kicks it away from Carter. Carter fields it, and he's tackled.
There's the case. Excellent job here by number 20.
Great tackle by Austin Calley.
Just excellent special teams play. That ball took a Warrior bounce right into the hands of Cole Carter. Austin Calley doesn't make that tackle. There's some good Dixie blocking up the field for him, and he's going to get at least 10 or 15 more yards tacked onto that return.
And the Flyers will be in their 2-minute drill, starting from their own 32-yard line, see if they can punch in a tying touchdown.
Here's a case where I think the Warriors may have to gamble a little bit and do a little bit of blitzing.
Jolly stays in the shotgun. He's got multiple receivers split wide.
You can't give 10 yards to the receivers on every downer. He's going to keep finding
Back
people.
to pass, looking for Atkinson, throws way over the middle, intercepted by Brock Jacobson.
That could do it right there.
That is the game on the 40-yard line. Flyers only have one timeout with 1:54. It's unlikely they'll be able to stop the clock. That ball just started to float on Jolly, and it was way over the head of Atkinson back to, and that's why you're in prevent, because Brock Jacobson was just standing back in center field. The ball came way over Atkinson's head. He was just there to pick it off.
He had to go up in the air to get that ball, too. It's nice he was able to catch it and hang on to it.
Perhaps in a position like that as a coach, I'm sure Coach Dyer, you know, he's trying to console his quarterback right now, but the one thing he may need to tell Doug Jolly is in a situation like that, you throw that ball out of bounds to the sidelines instead of just throwing it up for grabs. I mean, there was still plenty of time left on the clock, and they didn't need to go for too much right then.
I formation, Hickman calling signals, Brock Jacobson in motion. He's got Warby and Brooksby behind him. Gives to Stafford. Stafford gets about 2 or 3 yards and wrestles to the ground there.
You see, Stafford,
Dan Wright in on the tackle.
today, Stafford, especially in most of this game, has run more like a fullback, where they put him in and he's getting 2 and 3 yards, 2 and 3 yards. Not any of the long runs that you would normally expect from him.
Flyers now use their final timeout with 1:41 to go in the game, and they're going to be wishing that they had that last timeout that they lost on 4th down.
Yeah, that could be a big factor. I noticed Brad Esplint's come into the game on offense here, and Brock Jacobson, number 8, just come out. I don't know if
They're probably going to go in a 2 tight end formation then. Run the ball, make sure they don't fumble.
Unless they're going to go with that inverted wishbone that they were also using earlier.
Well, they usually use that in short yardage situations, but this may just be a situation where, like you're saying, you don't want to give a defender a free shot at him, maybe jar the ball loose or something like that. So they're just going to make it safe plays where they dive him into the middle of the line of scrimmage and hopefully be able to run out the clock.
Fans on both sides are standing. Just exciting football game, 3A championship game.
You really couldn't have asked for a better game or have it better scripted than it is.
Hickman calls center, and Warby in motion. Hickman pitches to Brooksby Stafford, trying to get outside, and he does. He's going to get big yardage up to the 50-yard line.
Looks like Stafford just allowed himself to go down before he could be pushed out of bounds by a Dixie defender.
Not a bad move. Smart move on his part, because the clock's not stopped for a first down either, so the clock continues to run.
And running to the wide side of the field took off extra seconds, so the Warriors certainly have a game plan here, how to kill the clock. With just 1:14 to go, the clock continues to move.
A first down would be really nice right now, but like you said, with the Flyers having no timeouts, it could just be a situation where 2 more plays will just effectively kill this ball game.
1 minute to go. This time he gives to Stafford. He's met at the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get the first down. Brought down by J.D. Carter and Taz Decker.
There's a case where it would have really needed to get that first down, in my opinion.
4th down and 44 seconds to go, and Snow Canyon's going to take all the time, probably take a delay of game, let the clock run down as much as possible, and force the Flyers to have a miracle play.
Well, Cole Carter's a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous man on a punt return, so they are probably not going to punt. They've got Brooksby Stafford in, they've got Matt Hickman in, they're going to go for the first down just to run more clock out.
They're gonna stand out there until there's a penalty called on them for time.
18 seconds, 17, 16, 15, there it goes. And the Flyers, there's nothing they can do about it. The clock's going to go all the way down to 11 seconds.
There's the delay of game penalty with 11 seconds left.
So they can run a play here, not even punt the ball. It's been a great game, Rich and Scott. Enjoyed doing the coverage with you. It's been a great playoff season. We've seen the quarterfinals and semifinals here in St. George. And these are 2 great teams. They both can be complimented. I know they're friends. A lot of these players played together in Little League and other things, and they're going to remember this game, but they're also going to continue to be friends.
I notice the wholesale changes out there on the field right now, so I guess they are putting
punt formation in.
Here's now because he's a little bit wobbly on that one leg, they're going to try to block that punt, of course.
You might also see Ben Lane kneel on the football.
That might be something. If he catches it, maybe if he can just hang on to it for a couple more seconds and just go down on one knee, that might be enough to run all the rest of the time off the clock.
He could also put Matt Hickman back in punt formation and have him run around for 11 seconds. He's got a lot of options here.
Yeah, the other thing I thought of that they might try was a reverse, because you can eat up quite a bit of time on the clock that way, but I think this is better.
He also might kick the ball out of bounds so that he doesn't give Cole Carter a chance to run it back on him. Cole Carter is back in single safety. Lane kicks the ball to Carter, and he does kick it out of bounds. So it's 5 seconds to go on the clock. The Flyers will get maybe one play off.
Well, with Doug Jolly's strong arm, we can't rule out these Flyers, not even for a second. Cole Carter's got the speed to get down the field. Doug Jolly's got the arm to get him the ball. If something happens, a defender slips or something like that, this game may turn around faster than we could have expected.
Well, the key factor here now is they're going to have to, they're going to have to keep good coverage out there, but they probably should take maybe one man and try to send him in the middle to keep make Jolly have to scramble before he throws the ball.
Well, again, with that prevent defense, they might end up just putting Brock Jacobson way back on like on the 40-yard line or something like that. Just to be way, just so chances are receiver's not going to be able to slip past it.
See, they just took out number 72, Bruce Rabin, and put in 4, John Hafen.
Well, the Warrior fans aren't worried. They're putting up the 12-0 flags already, and they think that you guys are overly worried for their benefit. They really feel like these Warriors have played a great season and a deserving team. Last year, second in the state, 12-0 record would be pretty admirable.
As you said, though, high school football, anything can happen.
Jolly calls the signals. And we're going to have a penalty before we can get the last play off. I think that'll be a motion penalty on the Flyers.
Oh, really? It is.
It looked like a guy just jumped and a little bit too eager, just
took off.
That
2 seconds too.
That tacks another 5 yards on. It's getting harder and harder to come up with that last play.
Yeah, they need an interesting play here to be able to pull this one off.
There's Robbie Brockman, number 58.
You're going to see.
And I can't see who the other man is, but they're
Coach Jacobson is going to get
54. They're bringing the Gatorade bath out. Robbie Brockman and Devin Johnson. They've got the Gatorade coming.
And Coach Jacobson won't mind this bath at all.
Certainly not. They're right behind him. We can see him down there on the field.
Here's your last play call here, Stan.
And our hats off to the Dixie Flyers, who have had a remarkable season, given some of the adversity they've had and early season problems. They've really put it together to come to this point in the season where they could be playing the last play of the game with a chance to tie, even though it's very difficult.
They put 2 seconds back on the clock, and I'm not sure quite why
Probably
they did that.
because on a penalty, the clock doesn't run. Since it happened before the play, before the ball was snapped, the clock didn't start before the flag was thrown.
Oh, okay, good point.
Dead ball penalty. So this timeout was taken by Snow Canyon, and they want to make sure that their prevent defense really is in prevent this time. You can see all of the student body of Snow Canyon is easing their way onto the field. It's amazing that the Warriors are able to stand on the sideline. Looks like they're pushing them right out on the field.
Yeah, they got to be careful because you get a penalty against the defensive team doing that too if you get too many people out there.
Well, you look back with a minute and 45 seconds left. Doug Jolly throws that big interception to Brock Jacobson, who comes up with his team-leading 7th or 8th interception of the year. Couldn't get one bigger than that.
So Jolly's got one more time to throw the football. Rubs his hands together. Shotgun, he's back to pass. Plenty of time. Time isn't a factor. And heaves the ball about 65 yards. And it's up in the air. And it's intercepted again by Brock Jacobson. The ball was tipped around, and two Flyers had a chance. And Snow Canyon are the 1996 state championship.
There's the Gatorade bath for the coach.
It's a dog pile at the 30-yard line.
I hope nobody gets hurt out there. Well, you know, I'm really, really pleased for the Flyers and how they played, because they didn't play like a 6-4 team. They played like a definite championship team, a team that deserved to be in the championship game.
They gave Snow Canyon all that they needed. Snow Canyon was put to the test. I think as we look back on this game, we're going to look back at Brooksby Stafford's initial kickoff run has set them up, put them ahead, and they were able to maintain the lead. This is Snow Canyon Warriors, 1996 3A state championship, and our hats are off to Coach Jacobson and his great staff and all of the students who have supported this Warrior team, and of course the players who really make it possible.
You know, to even be in a championship game 2 years in a row when you're only a school that's 3 years old, that's quite an accomplishment. And then to win, something that they can really be proud of.
And the Flyers will be back. It's a rich football tradition school.